All right, let's try this one more time. Hopefully, I have a much better stream with this transmission. What a pain in the ass, YouTube and Streamlabs. And I still love you because I get to use your technology. But folks, I don't know what happened. I had logged on to Streamlabs and it automatically did a update, and that just completely wrecked my live transmission. So I'm now an hour and 15 minutes past my time. But nonetheless, I'm going to wait for some people to jump on. And what I want to do is ask somebody on here that can maybe put something in the chat. How is my audio? And is there any kind of lag? Or is it pretty smooth sailing? So I'm going to wait for a few people to jump on. And I'm sure everybody probably went to bed already. So folks, if you were on the older transmission, thank you very much for your patience. This has been a very challenging night for live YouTube. But nonetheless, here I am. Okay, great. So someone says it sounds really good. Okay, that's cool. Let me get this microphone so it's not right smashing me in my face. All right, folks. So how's everybody doing? How's everybody doing out there in the world? I'm coming to you live from central Mexico. I am about 3 hours north of Mexico City. I'm kind of like in the very dead center of the country. And I'm in a town called San Miguel. Maybe you caught my live feed with Santos. Santos here was visiting. It was a nice treat to hang out with him. But he was visiting with me and we were able to do a live, which was great. So, nonetheless, folks, I'm going to go on to Facebook while I simultaneously am on here with you guys. And I want to address some of these questions that some of you may have put underneath the first time I posted, what's your question? And let's see if I can pull up some questions and answer. So here we go, folks. I got about 10 comments. Okay. Yeah, great. No lag. Awesome. Audio's good. I had to downsize my resolution from 1080p to 720p. I don't know if anybody of you know what that means, but it's kind of a bummer because I like to be as clean and crisp as possible. But nonetheless, here we go, folks. So going to these comments, some of you in Facebook put some in there, and I appreciate your comments. So Raul had asked the nature of reality. I don't really know what that means. So Raul, if you can come on here and kind of I'm getting an error message already. Keyframe frequency. Okay, I don't know. Folks, if there's any issues, please let me know. Now it's saying I have a poor connection. So, folks, if you are getting any kind of lag, this has not been a fun night for live streams. It's now saying I have poor stream status. I had excellent, now it's poor. So can anybody tell me if my streaming is good? And the unfortunate part is it's tough to, you're not able to change anything while you're on the fly. Yeah, I think I was... Okay, so Jonathan said it's all good. Okay, great. So, folks, what do you have for a question? So let me go through. I've been discombobulated. My apologies. It's been one heck of a day, one heck of a night so far. But let me go through some of these questions. Is there a way to find out who is controlling the show? Well, yes, there is a way. It's through decoding, folks. Who's running this reality? Well, I've been showing that over and over and over in different videos, in different topics, from sports to news to politics to physics to sacred geometry, the pyramids. I've got a broad stroke of topics that I've come out with, and the patterns are still emerging, and they're linking up to everything being the same, to where whatever's running this reality, it may go by many names to avoid detection, so you can't pinpoint it. So, of course, my research has led me to the fact that you really... Okay, cool. So really it comes down to, you have the Tetragrammaton, which is the ancient Israelite god of the Bible. You have Yaldabaoth, the Gnostic demiurge, which is the same thing as the Yod-Heh-Vah-Heh. You have Lucifer and Jesus, the two twins, which may be one and the same. Maybe the yin-yang. They may be the personalities of whatever runs this reality. There are so many stories, folks, that we've been given through the esoteric, and because of that, it's very hard to pinpoint, Greek mythology, Egyptian mythology. But what's most important, folks, is we know that something is running this reality. And I've shown with clear and convincing evidence now that man's not doing any of the coding. Man is just merely fulfilling the blueprint. So we're like the construction workers. We need to rely on the engineer or the architect. That's why the Masons, they call it the great architect of the universe. When you observe the Chaldean, folks, the word architect equals the number 28. And that can be so watered down because the 28, of course, the word Lucifer in the Chaldean, that equals the number 28. It's a direct match of the word architect using the same numerology cipher of Chaldean. Architect Lucifer 28. The word Pluto equals 28. See, so it can get really it can get to be a mess when you try to figure this stuff out. That's why you have to add in all these other layers to narrow down the search. Because if you're just relying on numerology to figure out, or gematria to figure out what's running this reality, it's a dead end completely. And every time you add on another cipher, you water down the results even more. That's why when I first started to decode, I just I really strive to I was at the time using septenary, and then I went to Chaldean, and I, when I got into numerology, I realized Chaldean works off of phonetics. It's the oldest known numerology cipher, and to me, it's closest to the source. It works off the number 8, which is the number that makes up physics and torus fields. So, when you're trying to decode, there are so many layers, but if you're strictly just using gematria or numerology, your results are going to get really watered down. Especially, like I said, every time you add on another numerology cipher, you water down your results. Unless you're finding words that connect in multiple ciphers. Like if you haven't seen my decode on Yaldabaoth and the connection to the Holy See and the Vatican, there's like 9 ciphers that connect the words Holy See and Yaldabaoth. They're a direct match in like 9 different ciphers. That's unheard of. The same with the word Bible and Alice in Wonderland. Like 8 or 9 different ciphers. Those stories connect. That is where you will get more of a confined and abstract way to observe things when you condense it down. Okay? So it's the puppet master, the number 58, leading to the element Cerium, the goddess of agriculture, leading to the 141, which is one of Cerium's weight, which is pi, folks, 3.141. And we live in that infinity loop. We live in this loop. Past, present, and future. and it constantly moves. And I have a decode coming out on that. I gave all of you the sneak peek of infinity, decoded. And folks, when I show you all this new stuff that I have coming out on infinity, decoded, it's bringing real physics and science into this and syncretizing theology, astrology, numerology, sacred geometry. All of these layers, they end up syncretizing together, and that forms more of a detailed story. Versus, the decoding world right now is so littered with people that are just using numerology, and that's it. And that's the challenging part for all of us. Because it's fun. Like when I started to decode, I was like, oh my God, this word's connecting to this word. Oh my God, wow. And I got so excited because I connected two words together. But then I realized that there are so many words that connect to the same words. And so that's a dead end. And that's how I got into, the reason why I got into pi is because my last name is Payette. and my whole life is completely scripted and rigged. I'm living out my script. Folks, if I were to show you, I'm in central Mexico right now. And I came here sight unseen. I have a friend who recommended that I come here. So I did. I didn't want to be in the US. And I came here and I'm in a casita, like a Mexican style casita. And the floor that I walk on is in the shape of a hexagon. They're all hexagons, which I showed in my decode of Architect of the Universe Part 2. How important that shape is. I put a hex on you, the hexagon shape that's in Saturn. And then underneath, I have this big island, my workstation, right underneath. And I just noticed this last week. I've been here 4.5 months. Right underneath, where I sit every single day to use my computer and do my research, and where I'm shooting from right now, it's the Aquarius symbol all the way across. This table is about 10 feet long. And the tiles underneath are showing the Aquarian symbology, and that's my birth sign. So when you observe your code, folks, and you start to see things that are syncretizing with your life, there's nobody coding my life. There's no man that's running my life. But yet every time I end up doing something, like if I were to show you all my videos and the timestamps, I do everything improv when I make all my videos. Like I just did a Zazel Decoded. I had no idea how long that video was going to be. It was 57 minutes long. 57 is The Truman Show. 57 is Stairway to Heaven. It was tied to the whole Azazel Decoded, if you watch that decode. How's that possible, folks? Because I'm living out my code. I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. And that's why I press upon people to discover who you are and why you're here. One of the most watched videos that I have on my YouTube channel is how to decode yourself. I came out with that thing last year, April 10th, and it's gotten over 10,000 views. Thank you everyone for watching it. You should be watching that. It's using 10 different layers. I'm going to add in another how to decode yourself part 2 because I left out the Enneagram and there's other layers that I didn't include with the first one. But the very one thing that we need to do, all of us, is to decide that we're going to decode ourselves and then start to investigate your code, your blueprint. Because for many of you're not living out your true potential. And I think that's the name of the game, is to discover who you are by observing astrology, numerology, personality types, your psychology, observing all your code from your past. Like, why did you grow up in the certain household that you grew up in? Why were you bullied? If that happened to you? Why did something tragically happen to you in your life? It's all part of your code, folks. And if you believe in the Akashic Records, I have a friend, her name's Tian. She's really backed up on readings right now. She's not even taking new readings right now. I'm going to be doing a podcast with her, but she's all about the Akashic Records. And the Akashic Records, folks, are inside the infinity symbol. Because the word Akasha, where Akashic comes from, in numerology, it's the number 41. And the mirror of the 41 is the 14. And that's pi, going forward, 3.14. Going backwards is that 413. the mirror of the 3.14. So we live in this infinity loop, folks. And that's why, like Jesus says, I'm the offspring of David. Well, David equals 41, which is the whale card, which is the Akashic records. So he's saying I'm the root and offspring of David. Well, David means the Akashic records, folks. That's what it means. Okay, I got a phone call coming. Let me just try to take this. Oh, I missed the call. So, folks, so if you'd like to call in, let me put that up on the screen. Well, actually, let me try to make that call come through again. Let me go through some of these comments. Folks, thank you so much for sticking with me. And I'm so glad I have all of you here. And I lost a lot of people, but hey, what am I going to do? Technical difficulties. That is life. And I'm very technically advanced, and I just could not get this damn thing to work. I was about ready to... Well, I did kind of scream a little bit, but... Okay. So let me go through some of these comments. Let me get through some of these comments, folks. So Joe, hi Logan, is there a way to learn what place one should live at based on numerology? So Joe's asking the question, is there a way to learn what place one should live at? Well, there's actually a video that I'm going to be coming out with, and many other people have come out with this video, but it's on your astrocartography using astrology. And you can plug in through, if you go to astro.com and you go and create a natal chart, it's very easy. There's a way to click on a certain parameter in those charts where you can click on and change the location. And then it'll give you the lines of where the planets are. And it'll tell you exactly where you're at and what kind of energy is being delivered to that specific place on the map, on the latitude, longitude lines. It's really cool. And I feel it's very accurate. I've talked to Santos about it, and you know he fancies it as well. So there is a way to do it that way. But folks, all of you should be looking up your latitude, longitude on your... You should be looking up your latitude, longitude on your birth city. Every single one of you should be looking that up and discovering who you are and why you're here. Through that latitude, longitude, X marks the spot. Okay? Folks, if the music's too loud, just let me know. I just don't like having it completely blank slate. I like to have a little bit of background music. But everyone here should be looking at your latitude, longitude of your birth city. Every single one of you here should be looking up the address that you were born in, the house that you were raised in, and doing a full decode on the numerology. That's what everybody should be doing right now, because it's part of your code, folks. And you can syncretize those layers into other layers. So everybody should be doing that. Folks, wanted to let all of you know, if you're watching this, if you're going to call in, if you're going to make a phone call, I'll be taking phone calls in about 5 minutes. If you're going to be calling in, folks, please have a point to your question so we can get this moving along. Have a question or have something you want to talk about, a topic, an idea. Maybe it's a decode that I've done on my YouTube channel. Maybe it's something that you've done on a decode. But please have a point. I don't want to have any random conversations like, hey, Logan, what's going on? How are you? No, this is about how to decode yourself. What's your question? We're talking about decoding reality, folks. And this is extremely important in my eyes of what's going on in our world. And we got to get to the bottom of this. Okay. So I'm going to be taking phone calls in about 5 minutes, folks. If you'd like to make a phone call, I'll be splashing it up on the screen. Okay. So let's go back to the comments. Where does God the creature fit into your theory? Brian Fuller's asking, where does God the creature fit into your theory? Brian, that's kind of a watered down question. You know, first we need to define God. Are you talking about the demiurge, the God that runs this reality? Are you talking about maybe the monad? That's because in philosophy, Socrates and what they believed in the monad and then the dyad. So the monad is the originating source creator, which gave offspring, and now we have the demiurge, which runs the duality, which is the infinity symbol, the Taurus fields, which is where you get Taurus the bull in the zodiac. So if you haven't, folks, a lot of these questions you may be asking, go to my YouTube channel and look through the catalog of my videos. A lot of the videos in there will answer a lot of your questions. So I'm just going to suggest you pulling that. What site? Okay, so pen proper. What sites should I go to decode for numerology? Let me give some of you, I'm going to put them right into the comment section right now for you folks. Here's one for pi. This is, you'll see my name in there. Here's one. You know what? You should automatically know what the numerology one is, the Gematrinator. There's the periodic table. And you want to go to numberempire.com. And you want to start using numberempire.com, looking at your prime numbers. And folks, you know, when you really get into advanced decoding, I don't want to get too off topic, but when you get into advanced decoding, you're going to get into sine and cosine waves, trigonometry, and what makes up that dragon wave that we all create. That's where you're going to find the more detailed truth of what's running this reality. I've come out with a little bit of that using the Elvis decode. I showed everybody the timestamp, like Elvis's footprint from birth to death through the sine and cosine waves during that decode. And I have so much more information I could show you folks that it's never ending. I mean, I do a decode, it sucks me in, and it's like literally I could never get anything done because there's so much information it wants to show me. So I have to limit myself. It's really a crutch for me. So there you go, folks. There's some of the sites. I think you would be good at decoding the Bible. Brian, I have decoded the Bible many times over. Please go look at my decodes. Decoded the Bible so many times. From the Torah to the New Testament, from the Hebrew to the Greek, what both testaments mean. The Bible is love and fear. That's exactly what it is. Old Testament is in fear, and New Testament is love. That's how you break those two down. Brian, we already know that Lucifer controls this world. Well, that's a possibility that Lucifer controls this world. That's not a guarantee or a fact because we cannot prove that theory. All we can do is put that theory out there. If Lucifer is the one indeed that's running this world, he's controlling all of us. And we have no control. That's what I'm getting out of this research. So it's possible that Lucifer runs this reality, for sure. That's a possibility I don't rule out. I've shown it many times over, and I've decoded Lucifer so many times. Go watch my decode on Lucifer Part 2. I decoded the Netflix show. Clearly I showed using the methodology that Thomas John Ellis, who they casted for Lucifer, that's Jesus' twin brother, Thomas. The guy they casted for Lucifer, his birth name is Thomas. His birth name is Thomas. He was born on November 17th, the 17, if you watch my decode on Azazel. Azazel 71, the mirror of the 17. 17 is the star card in the tarot. These cards right here, folks, they give you a lot of truth. Yet the Bible and the church have demonized these things. Yet these come from the same source as any ancient artifact, text, manuscript. There's so much truth in those. And we can't leave these out, folks. Same with these, like the medicine cards. These medicine cards came out in 1988. They use animals, insects, and reptiles. How can these be demonized? Nothing to do with demons. They're just cards with animals and insects and reptiles on them. That's it. Yet I can syncretize these into anybody's life. I can syncretize them into the tarot. I can syncretize them into the cards of illumination. These have been around for a heck of a long time. And if you watched my decode on the architect of the universe, all the symbols, the diamond, the clubs, the spades, the hearts, they're all in the Taurus fields. They're all in the construct of our matrix reality. So let's keep going here. Why is the Chaldean? Thank you for your donations, folks. SB was asking, I agree. What do you think about me, Santa Barbara, California, September 19th? Well, your September, folks, you know, if you're asking the question, like September 19th, that's the 19 SB is linked to the word battery. Now, we're all batteries. So that doesn't really tell us much. It's when you get into your card description that will tell you a lot. Like you should probably Google September 19th. Just Google that, September 19th, include the TH, and find out what day of the year you were born on, including the leap year. Because numbers encroach. That's why you have the leap year. September 19th is the 5 clubs card. 5 clubs card is the card that's it's on the very, look at that, it's on the very bottom of the deck, but there it is. The 5 clubs card, folks, is the 18th card in the deck, and the word Jesus equals the number 18. The number 5 sits in the very middle of the dial pad. Has a ton of energy to it. I already know, this is the mind. The SB, you work for the mind of the cosmos. These cards all are in fashion with the elements: fire, water, air, earth. So the club suit is the air suit tied to the wands in the tarot. As a matter of fact, the clubs, if you look at the Bible, the cross, the older Bibles, the 1600 Bibles, they have a club on it, which is called a trefoil, that symbol. The Word was God, God was the Word. You need to speak. The Word is air. It's the air suit. Clubs, 5 clubs. And, obviously what that means for you, SB, September 19th, 5 clubs, is that you're in your head a lot. Massive amount of chatter going on in your mind. So you would be well served to do meditation every day to quiet that mind and practice quieting the mind. Because 5 is the busiest number, sits right in the middle of the dial pad, collects a lot of the energy. Collects all the energy. If you were to put a pyramid over the top of the dial pad on the phone, the 5 would be at the capstone, the very top, the pinnacle. So any 5 of hearts, 5 of diamonds, 5 of clubs, 5 of spades, very, very busy people. And then you have the 19, which is the 1 and the 9, the opposite of one another, the 2 numbers. Leader, humanitarian. Syncretizing your life, SB. Leadership in the number 1, humanitarian in the number 9, adding in the number 5, the in-between point, the very busy person. Syncretizing that. And then you'd want to add in your name numerology. You want to get a reading, do your astrology. Look up for an astrologer. I do readings, but maybe you want to just go do astrology. I syncretize them all. But that's what you want to do. And if you need more information, just send me an email, decodeyourreality@gmail.com, and I'll send you whatever I can to help you out. I just want to let everybody know, I'm not a big fan of email. It's my least favorite method of communicating. Because you can imagine, I get bombarded with emails and I love them all. But I get people sending me all these long emails, and if I were to respond to every single one of them like I'd really want to, I'd never get anything done because typing takes too long. That's why I'd rather use Telegram or WhatsApp and just talk. And I share my Telegram. I'm not hiding behind anything. I share my Telegram, my WhatsApp with people because I'd rather do the voice to text than do email. So if you send me an email, I try to reply back, but I'd rather just communicate via voice. It's so much easier. So, what's up, Kevin Clark? Took the day off. Kevin, hey man. This guy right here, Kevin Clark, one of my buddies, probably the smartest guy I know. Born on February 11th. His destiny is the Ace Spades card 40, Death and Regeneration. But that guy is just a seed planter. Kevin, his posts are just so dynamic. I can't even keep up. Kevin's challenge is condensing his information down so it's not so abstract, because most people just can't keep up with his processor in his brain because he's so intelligent, Anyways, Christine, nice to have you. Let me go through some of these comments. SB, thank you very much for your donation. I really appreciate it. Folks, a lot of you are seeing numbers. I keep seeing the number 1111. I keep seeing the number 33. I keep seeing the number 88. I keep seeing the number 4, the number 7. Folks, you should be taking notes, keeping a tally in your phone, because it's too vanilla. Like, people ask me, what does it mean? It can mean so many things. The very first thing that each and every one of you should be doing is decoding yourself. That should take priority in your life. Go watch my video on how to decode yourself. It's an hour and 5 minutes long. I never planned, folks, that hour. And this is why I'm saying coding. You want to talk about coding? Architect of the universe, great architect of the universe equals 105. How to decode yourself. That video that I did last year was an hour and 5 minutes long. I didn't plan on doing it that way. Just happened to come out like that. You don't want to know why? Because I'm in tune with the vibrational frequency of my code. I eat super clean. I'm more plant-based than anything else. I stopped eating animals. That was a personal choice of mine. When I did that, my vibrational frequency went up. The downloads that I got when I started to do that took off like a rocket. Should everybody do that? I don't know. It's a personal journey. It's up to you. But I feel there's great significance to that. All right, so don't lie and try. Folks, thank you so very much for coming on here. I appreciate each and every one of you. So Hood Chosen, born June 7th. Well, June 7th is the 10 Diamonds card. And the 10 Diamonds card is card number 36. I'm going to post this in here. I'm going to do here you go, folks. I want you to look up your card. It's all in thecards.com. There you go, folks. Click on that link. It's all in thecards.com. Go read about your card. Memorize it. Do you realize if you memorize who you are and why you're here, you'll download that information. You'll accept it. It's just the same thing as if you remember the movie The Matrix, Neo, he had to learn how to fight. So they put him in the chair, plugged him in, and they uploaded how to become a master of all this karate and kung fu and all that stuff. That's exactly the scenario that we're faced with, or we can enter into when we read about ourselves. But you can't just do it one time. You can't just read about yourself one time or once a week and think you're going to download all this information about yourself. It doesn't work that way. We forget a lot of the things. We have busy lives. So what we must do is do it in repetition, over and over and over and over and over again until it becomes ingrained in your brain, in your memory banks, until you accept it and own that code. Like if this person born on June 7th, the 10 Diamonds, that's the card that's Tom Brady from the Buccaneers. He's the 10 Diamonds. The artist known as Prince, 10 Diamonds. Michael Jackson, 10 Diamonds. Now, is everybody that has a 10 Diamonds card going to be successful like these people? No. That's not what it means. But when you own that code, you may level up in this game. That's a very good possibility. This game might be leveling up. And the only way that you can level up is through knowledge. That's why we're told to not bite the apple. That's why the church inside that book has really interpreted it to where don't seek the knowledge. Don't forget about the tree of knowledge. You don't want that one. That one's going to kill you. But yet the tree of knowledge and tree of life is our DNA. So if you're not paying attention to one, you're literally just sidekicking part of your DNA. And you're putting all your faith into the tree of life, which is the number 46, which is the loop. And I got this coming out in my prison planet, folks. There's an anomaly in pi. 46, 19, and 37 forms a triangle. And I have a feeling that recycles you back into the game, putting your faith into the tree of life. Just think about what it means. Tree of life, the game of life, putting you right back into the game. So that's just kind of, where my mind is at with that. But there is that anomaly with the 46, the 19, and the 37. If you've been watching his great work, which is 46 is palladium, which is wisdom. 19 is potassium, which is tied to the sun. And 37 is the Jack Diamonds. The Jack in the Box. That anomaly, folks, which is going to be in my prison planet Decode, that may be the very one thing that keeps us recycled back into the game. That's why it's Jack everywhere. We're all Jack in the Box. And if you're a female, you're Jill. I showed that in my Jack and Jill Decoded. Folks, I'm currently right now, and I'm going to suggest this to you if this resonates with you. If this hits you, maybe you should do this. So I started to watch again for the second time the show it's on Amazon Prime called 24, starring Kiefer Sutherland. And oh my word, the syncs that I'm getting with this show. That show was all about predictive programming. Came out in 2002. And the second season, they highlighted President Wayne Palmer, who was an African-American president before Obama got into office. How about that? But you see these shows, and then they had the virus, and they had all the crap that's going on. Because, see, movies and television, they're a precursor to the live events. We all end up giving our energy to these shows. Every time you tune into a show, you give it energy. You make it grow, expand. And then it comes to fruition. That's how it works. Part of it. The construct. Part of it. Let's get back to some of these questions. I see 939 all the time. Yeah, folks, if you're seeing numbers, you should be taking notes. And the worst thing you can do is Google, like, what does 939 mean? You're going to get a million different opinions. What it means to you, it's going to be case specific to your code. If you have a song that just pops into your head out of nowhere, you should decode the song, when it came out, how long the length of the song is, who sang it, who wrote it, when was it first played in concert, live. All of these are synchronicities, and they are part of the code. And when you have a song pop in your head, you should instantly decode it. 1000% you should decode the song. Okay? Definitely something you should do. So Fawn says, I went organic, it helps. I'm not a big fan of organic, folks. Just be straight up and honest with you. I'm not a fan of organic. I think it's just a big scam, because you're going to get cross spray, and all you got to do is bless your food anyway. You put your hands over your food and you just envision the energy going into the food and healing it. You're a healer, folks. We're all healers. All of us, we're all healers. I'm just not a big fan of the organic movement. Never have been. When I was in the U.S., I don't buy organic food. I think they're a waste. My blood comes back great. I'm healthy. I mean, I'm just turned 48, so always try to take care of myself. So I am Kupava Monday, okay. So let's see. Never thought about that. Yeah, folks. Let me give you. Let me pop up the number on the screen here in case somebody wants to call in. Remember though, folks, if you want to call in, please have a point. Whoops. Please have a point. I gotta find the phone number here. Hold on, folks. Here we go, image. Give me 1 second, folks. I'm doing this simultaneously here. All right, there we go. There's the number. Top left-hand corner if you want to call in, folks. And remember, have a question. Okay? Please. I would love to sit here and chat with all of you. If there was no such thing as time and we didn't have, because I'm on strict time, I'm only going to probably be able to go for another maybe like 45 minutes to an hour, because it's 11:30 at night here and my neighbor's coming back. Okay, we got a phone call coming in. I think I know who this is. Let's try to take this call. This is Christine. Hello, you're on the air. Is this Christine? Christine, are you there? Hello. Christine, are you there? All right, can't get anybody on the... Well, if that was Christine from Seattle, there we go. Let's try it again. Is this Christine? Hello? Hello, hello? Can you hear me? All right, I don't know what's going on my phone, folks. I'm going to try this one more time. Made the phone calls. See, this 206 area code. Go ahead. Hello, 206 area code. For some reason, I cannot get this to work tonight. Well, folks, we're going to probably have to just shit can the phone calls tonight. I can't get my phone to work. This is par for the course, as they say. All right, we're going to try it one more time. 206, you're on the air. Can you hear us? Hello? No, it's not working. Sorry, folks. Try to do a phone call. I don't want to keep spending time on that. Sorry, it's not going to work, so we're going to just take this off. And my apologies. Again, I mean, it's just par for the course. It's just not working. All right, folks. So anyway, use a cell phone on speaker. I could do that, but then it would have to go up to the microphone. So let's see if we can do that. Let's see. Hello, you're on the air. How you doing? This is Christine. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
How's it going? Is this Christine?
Yes.
What's going on, Christine? What's your question? Sorry about that. I don't know. I have technical difficulties up the wazoo tonight, so.
That's okay. Could you please pull a medicine card for me?
Yes.
And just what's going on with me?
Okay, we'll do that. I'm gonna do that off the air. I'm gonna try to plug this back in again because holding the phone is not really the fun thing to do. So, but thanks for calling in. Always appreciate your support up there in Seattle.
Have a good one.
Thanks, Christine. You too. Have a good night. All right, so I'm gonna pull a card for Christine, folks. If you want your card pulled, man. All right, so we're going to do Christine. What's the most important thing for Christine to focus on in life right now? We're going to do the middle of the deck for Christine. And, well, you got the Otter card, Christine, which is card number 8. Now, obviously, the number 8 is the infinity symbol, death and regeneration, the Otter. Go, my suggestion, because these are so dynamic, these cards, is to go and research, the Otter medicine card. And I think, Christine, you have the book. But, the Otter card and what the otters are about. And, the otter lives in water too, so you want to go check that out. Most important thing for you to focus on in life right now is the otter. Okay, so let's get back to some of these amazing people here in the chat box. All right. The code of life is Luna Soul. The sun and moon, folks. The sun and moon. Let me show you that in the tarot. And this will make sense to some of you. Well, hopefully all of you. There's the moon. The card in the tarot, the moon, it's the 18th card. And this is how you syncretize. This is why I know these aren't from the devil. They have nothing to... matter of fact, I'm going to show you guys all one thing here. I'm going to actually break down. Watch this. I'm going to break down cards 14 through 21. I'm going to break them all down for you folks. Show you how amazing this tarot is. There they are. All right, you ready, folks? Here we go. This is how amazing the tarot is. And it has absolutely nothing to do with what the church told you to do, what it's all about. So, 15, 20, 14, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 15. Okay. So here they are in order. Oh, where's my tower card? Hold on. I gotta get the tower card. This is these cards are actually going to show you the breakdown of the process of all of us getting here into this game through the cards. And you know, again, folks, it's very possible that the divine, whatever created this reality, wanted to come down here and experience physical life, which is where you get the story of the fallen angels from. And, you know, when I did a decode on the longest home run hit in professional baseball by Joey Meyer of the Denver Zephyrs, clearly I showed that his life was not his own. So it seems like the divine, whatever created this reality, wanted to come down here and hit that baseball and experience it. It's kind of how I look at it now. There's really no other way to put it. All right, so let's start off in card number 13. Spyro Cole, thank you so much for the donation, man. Always appreciate the donations, folks. And if you have a question, Spyro, 1818, I love it, 99. 99, folks, Spyro, since you donated that, I appreciate that. You know, the number 99 in the movie Back to the Future, Part 2. In the movie Back to the Future, Part 2, there was a scene where Doc Brown and Marty McFly was meeting the guy who delivered him a telegram, Western Union or something like that. And he got the telegram, and it was from Doc from the future, I think it was. And it was right after the DeLorean ends up blowing up or something, like gets struck by lightning. And when that happens, right behind the car, after that scene happens, there's the number 99. Right behind the car. When that car, I think the car explodes or something. Or it goes back in time or something like that. I don't remember. But I know that there's the number 99 right there. That number 99, when you go to numerology and you type in the 3 words that make up the Trinity in physics, dielectricity, magnetism, and electricity. Santos talks about those a lot. When you type those in the numerology cipher, it's going to give you the number 99. A double repeater number. And Back to the Future is talking about time travel. And it definitely shows the lightning bolt. Definitely shows the lightning bolt. So some of your comments here. Before I get into the tarot, I'm going to jump into this. Sorry, I'm a little all over the place. This has been a really weird night. Hood Chosen. Is it necessary to decode one's phone number? Absolutely. You can decode everything in your life. Since you asked, I'm going to tell you. My phone number has a Hawaii area code, 808, the WhatsApp number. When you add up the total digits, equals the number 55. I didn't plan it that way. But when I chose the number, I just wanted a Hawaii number. And the reason why is because I want to end up moving in Hawaii at some point, if that's in my destiny. So I'm like, I'll just manifest Hawaii through the phone number. But my phone number adds up to the number 55. You should add up your social security number. The time you were born. You know what time I was born at? 1:03 a.m. What is 1:03? It's pi. My last name is Payette. My birth time is pi. I'm just nothing but pi. That's why I decode pi and use pi. Because it's part of my code. Clearly, I don't have any control or destiny over my life. It appears that way. But, like I said, I come here to Mexico. Didn't even know where I was going to stay. I just knew I had a place rented. And like I said, the floor is hexagons. Saturn. I'm an Aquarius. In the Vedic system, I'm a Capricorn sun. So I share the Capricorn and the Aquarius sun. And then I have the Aquarius symbol underneath my island that I put all my workstation on. Right out in the hallway, when I go outside, there's a goat on the mantle. Capricorn goat. What do you think the odds would be of that? The signs. My life's completely scripted and rigged. I mean, that's why. Do I believe in predestination? Friggin' absolutely. How else are we to break this down? Like when you start seeing your code, when you start seeing symbols, how do you break that down? How do you wrap your mind around that? How do you describe it? How do you decode that, other than your life's coded? Anyway, folks, let me get into these cards. I'm going to break down the way our world works, the path of creation through the tarot. So here we go. So the first card is card number 13. Let me go to my screen here. Let me get the light there. There you go, the death card, card 13. We die, physical death. In the middle of your natal chart is a round circle. That's death. Your natal chart, folks, in astrology is one of your eyes. That's what a natal chart is. It's why it's round, has all those houses. It's your eyeball. And we have our chart, and then we have the chart that currently is moving through time right now. Those are your two eyes. So we die. And then what we do is we enter into Pi. This is the 14th card. Temperance. The great balancer. The angel, you notice he has 2 cups and he's pouring water between both. Card 14, 3.14. Temperance. The great angel of balance. Moving into time. Then we go to card 15. Devil card. 3.1415. This is the 1-5. And this is a depiction of being in prison. This card has a male-female on it with the devil above it, and the chains that are wrapped around our necks are not tightly in place. You can take them off anytime you want. The word exit in numerology equals the number 15. I showed that in my Truman Show Decode. There it is, the devil card. Then going into 16, this card right here. It's called the Tower. This is a card of pure masculinity. This is a phallus. In human form, it's a penis. It's ejaculating, having an orgasm, blowing its top. Because card 16, which, remember the days of creation in the theology story is 1 through 6. This is 1 through 6 right here. And then we go into card number 17, and the star is born. So what you have is card 16, planting the seed, ejaculation, and then the star is born. This is the star card. This is the earth. In that sense, in that lineage, card 17, which is where Lucifer comes into play. The fallen angel story, we're all fallen angels. Then you go to 18. After the star comes the moon, because this is the earth. This is the representation of the earth, this card. And we live on the earth. We're part of it. We're extensions of it. And then we get into card 18, the moon, the satellite of the earth. And then you get into card 19, which of course is the sun. And then you have the Trinity here, which is, the sun, the moon, and Earth. 17, 18, and 19. But it's the moon and the sun that make up the Jack of Diamonds, because the Jack Diamonds card is card number 37. Right here. This guy. That's card 37. And 37 is the makeup of the sun and moon. The sun is 19, the moon is 18. And 19 plus 18 is 37. So essentially, we are light beings, right? Slowed down into physical matter, into the Jack in the box. And we're stuck in the box. And so the sun and the moon are kind of the twins, the Ark of the Covenant, and they own and operate the Jack Diamonds. And after the sun, you have the judgment of that, card 20. And the word duality equals 20. The word whole, like down in a hole, that equals the number 20. And then, of course, you have the last card in the major arcana, the world card. And this has the 4 fixed signs of astrology on it, the ox, lion, eagle, man. And that's the X. So that's how these cards work, folks. That's the breakdown. And I'm going to be breaking these down using the star card and the sun and the moon in my upcoming decode on the infinity symbol. It's all going to be in there. And you see, folks, my code, just to give you some reassurance that you should be decoding yourself, knowing your code. See, I'm the 8 spades card and the king clubs. So this is my master life card. What's the 8? It's the infinity symbol. Folks, my whole life has been sitting in the very middle and observing both sides and not trying to play favorites. That's this card. Which in the tarot, it's this card. Card 40. This is card 47. This is my birth card. And you wonder why I show you the 47 all the time. Not because it's linked to me personally, because I could care less about me. It's not about me. But this is being stuck down here in the hole. Trapped and limited. Blindfolders on. Bandages on. Not being able to do anything. You know, and again, we have 2 of these cards, folks. So what are your 2 cards? Your 2 primaries. You know, this is my master spirit card. King clubs. This is what I was given as my code. The club suit means the mind of the cosmos. How the cosmos. So we have the macro, this is the mind of the cosmos, the king of the mind. And then you'd have the micro, which is us. So we live through these cards. So what are your 2 cards? You should know what they are. You should know what your cards are, folks. The cards are you, you are the cards. It has nothing to do with the devil. Personally, folks, I feel that whatever created this reality is the personality of both Jesus and Lucifer. I mean, clearly, folks, if you go into that scripture that Jesus says, I'm the offspring and root of David, and I'm the bright morning star, people say, oh, you can't say that Lucifer is the morning star, and it's not the same thing. What do you mean it's not the same thing? It all comes down to interpretation. But clearly I can tell you that the Akashic records, which makes up the infinity symbol, constantly we're making up the Akashic record. The past creates the future creates the past. They're all together. And I wish I had an egg timer because I'd be able to show you what's going to happen. And I'm going to give you a little illustration of that, folks. But here is the card that represents the Akashic records. The whale card. Card 41. What's 41? The lower chakra points. 4 is the heart, 1 is the root. The whale is the largest known animal on earth. It's the keeper of the Akashic records. If you go read that book, the medicine cards. Completely different system, but we syncretize it with the tarot and the cards of illumination and numerology and all that. Tied to neobium, which is the number 92. Think about what the number 92 is. What is 92? 9 is endings and completions. 2 is duality. 92. That's why you need to have an understanding or understanding of what numerology is all about. You must know what the numbers mean, folks, to make any sense of this. Now, personally, I don't like to reduce down quite a bit. I like to keep the numbers as authentic as possible. So if you come up with a number, like your life path, this is a good example. Your life path. What is your life path? It's your soul contract using the rules of numerology. It's taking your entire birthday and adding it up. My birthday is February 4th, 1973. So it's 2 plus 4 plus 1 plus 9 plus 7 plus 3. It's going to give you the number 26. What's 26? Iron. Tetragrammaton. I was raised a Jehovah's Witness. Why? Why was I put into that code? Tied to the number 55, which is the 10th Fibonacci number. 10th letter in the Hebrew alphabet's the Yod. That's the code I was given. Your life path is your soul contract. So my 26 means that my soul is really contributing to the number 2 and the number 6. Giving all its energy to the number 8. 2 plus 6 is 8. So life paths, you get your compound number, which is the double number. Some of you may get it like Christine. She's a master number 33, but she services the number 6. The higher form of the 6 is the 33. But Christine is a complete service to the third eye. That's the number 6 chakra, which has got to deal with, which deals with paradigms, changing paradigms. So my 2 6s, I service the third eye and duality. So I'm a paradigm changer of duality. That's how you read life path, my life path. If you're a 26-8 life path, my life path is an 8. My card is an 8. It's a very important layer to look at in your life is your life path. Besides your name, numerology. And you should be, folks, you should be decoding your, both your last names. Both your last names together. And getting an output like that and seeing what you get. Your mother's maiden name and your last name that you got. And it's really interesting because you see if you kind of trickle that all down, you're going to always go to the masculine. Because your mother's maiden name was from her father. It never goes to the feminine. It's bizarre. It just goes all the way back to the masculine. But you want to decode both of your last names. Okay, so let me get to some of these questions. Eddie Machete. We got a phone call coming in. I don't know if this is going to work, folks, but let me try it. Hello, you're on the air. Can you hear us? Yeah, my phone. Let me see. Hold on. Oh, my in-call volume's good. Yeah. So Augustine, my friend, I know who this is. He's from Argentina, a really good friend of mine. My phone's not working. I apologize, folks. I'm not going to be able to take phone calls tonight. So my apologies. I'd have to shut down my system, which would end this transmission, and it's just not going to happen. So my apologies, folks. Or I can probably try to reset my phone. I don't know if that would work, but let's see if that'll work. Okay. So let's get to some of these comments, folks. What if you have some same last name from both sides? Well, then Eddie, you would just decode that, folks. You got to decode all your names. If you have nicknames, do that. Your full birth name on your birth certificate is, in my opinion, the most dominant in your life. Now, in the rules of numerology, you can change your name. My birth name is Jason. I changed it to Logan decades ago. Not officially, but cosmically I changed it. It's a long story. But nonetheless, my birth name, Jason, my full name is Jason Arthur Piet. That's my name. That's my full birth name. And that's my most powerful name. It's the number 64. 64 squares on a chessboard. In the Chaldean, my number is 64. In the English, I'm 220. In the full reduction, I'm 76. Link to the Wizard of Oz. But you should be decoding your names, folks. Everything about you, you can decode. Your license plate on your car. Folks, go back in your life and look at the history of your life. Folks, on my arm, let me get my, on my arm right here, I have flames, and this is all this wrapped up. These are all phoenixes. I have like 5 phoenixes on my arm. Why'd I get the phoenix? Voice in my head told me to. That's why I made the decision to do that. Well, do you know that when I was a kid growing up, my parents owned a car called the Pontiac Phoenix. It was a silver one of all colors. Silver is tetragrammaton, 47. That's right. My parents had a silver Pontiac Phoenix. And then after that car, they bought a car called the Eagle Premier. And my dad got an Eagle Talon. The eagle is the scorpion in astrology, the 4 fixed signs. Representation of the phoenix. How is that possible, folks? Because it's my code. And I observe it. And when I observe my code, I know who I am. I know why I'm here. I know why I'm here. Do you know why you're here? Some of you don't. That's okay. At least you know consciously you don't know why you're here. That's a starting point. Some people that I know, folks, are so wrapped up in Maya, the Matrix, they're completely shut off from discovering who they really are. That's why the decoding world, it's a minority. Most people would, like, I'm down here in central Mexico. I'm in the mountains. And yet I go outside, and the majority of people, the majority of the Latin culture, are wearing masks outside. Tells me where their brain's at, tells me where their programming's at. I know they're watching too much TV. They're too heavily influenced in what the media's telling them. I only wear one when I have to. I try to get away with it all the time. Play stupid, whatever. But see, folks, we're a minority now. And I'm just telling you, we're now in the age of Aquarius, and the age of Aquarius means I know thyself. There are no more excuses of saying I didn't know that, or I didn't know that was going to. There's no more excuses, folks. There's no more excuses. You should know who you are, your code. You know, there was a movie series out called the Jason Bourne series. I watched one of them about a month ago, and I got a clue. That movie is about Matt Damon, Jason Bourne, who decides to go on this mission, but he loses his memory. And he's scrambling throughout the movie trying to find out his past. Isn't that exactly what we're trying to do? We've lost our memory, and we're trying to figure out why we're here. The word memory, the first syllable of memory is memory. If you go and study the Hebrew, the etymology, mem means fish or water. We're like a fish out of water. We forgot. That's very possible. That's what's going on in our reality. And the game that we're playing, the rules to the game is you got to figure out your code. Why are you here? Why'd you come here? That's what I feel is a major part of the game. It's discovering why the hell are you here? That's why, you know, if you watch my videos, my research, and listen, I'm not here, there's a lot of great decoders out there. I don't agree with a lot of the stuff they're putting out because they're constantly pointing the finger. And they're stuck on that. Not interested in that. It allows you to be right and prove them wrong. This entire world, folks, if you don't like what a shark does, a shark's a true predator. I mean, are you yelling at the shark when you're snorkeling in the water? Hey, don't eat that fish. It's freaking designed to eat the fish. How about the praying mantis? Stone cold killer. It literally eats its prey alive. It chews its head first. I've seen it eat mice. I've seen it eat butterflies. I've seen it eat other praying mantises, of course. Why does it do that? Do you think that animal or insect had anything to do with the story of creation? And where did the praying mantis sin to and get thrown down here in the world of sin? Folks, it's ludicrous to think that. It's predator prey down here. Eat or be eaten. That's part of the game. Because man's an experiment. That's why I did a decode on rat in a cage. Think about your logic, folks. What do human beings do in laboratories? They experiment on mice and rats. They put them through torture and pain. Little rodents. They have lives too. Are their lives just worth nothing? But yet man experiments on them for the benefit of us. So I feel the construct of the game, the way the game was designed, it was designed that way. For mice and rats to be disposable, pawns, for them to be experimented on so we can figure out how to go about doing things in life. Folks, I mean, when you walk outside, are you consciously looking down at the ground, making sure you're not stepping on all the ants and the insects? Of course not. Folks, you're constantly killing things. You don't mean to do it, but you do it. This entire world is transformation. Showed it in my Architect of the Universe. You want to know? Look at this. This is how in tune everything is. I'm going to get into this weasel card too. The 33. Let's talk about that. But let me show you, folks. Here it is. Here's card number 9. The butterfly. What does 9 mean in numerology? Endings and completions. It's a repeater number. It's 1/2 of the 6. The yin yang. Keeps everything contained, the 9. What is the butterfly? Transformation. See, folks, down here in the game of life, we live in a world of transformation. The butterfly shape, I've shown you put 2 of the tin symbols together, the merger of worlds. You put 2 of those together, it forms the butterfly. How about that? That's exactly how it works. So, folks, it's very possible. It is absolutely very possible that all of us are never getting out of this game. All of us are stuck here. Now, I know that may rain on some of your parades. I know that, and again, this is just my opinion, and again, I'm not saying it's true. I'm saying it's a possibility. But, folks, this game, we may just be recycled back in, and then we just change avatars. And the only way to get a better position on the board the next time around is to be a good freaking person. That's where you get into laws of karma. The oldest known religion is Hinduism. It's older than Hebrew and the Jewish. It's older than all of those. Does it mean it takes priority or precedence? Not necessarily, but in those texts, the Upanishads and the Vedas and all that stuff, they're big into reincarnation. And I have a feeling that this game is all about leveling up. Like when you play a video game, you're trying to collect coins, trying to get to the next level. That's the whole thing about games, is you level up. When I was growing up playing ColecoVision and Intellivision and Atari, those were my games. A lot of the games were, shoot it, whatever, you'd level up. You go to the next level, you beat that, like Pac-Man. You beat the first level, you get to the second level, it gets harder. But you look at these people's lives, like, I'm going to use this 10 diamonds card as an example. Because this card is really, this is card number 36. Card number 36. And, the subtleties, when you look at the symbols in there, you have 4 on one side, 4 on the other, and then you have 2 in the middle. 82, leading to lead. Computer and alchemology is 82, but nonetheless, this is the card of fortunate blessings. So if you have the king, the 10 diamonds, it means fortunate blessings. Tom Brady, 10 diamonds. Michael Richard Pence, 10 diamonds. Prince, 10 diamonds. Michael Jackson, 10 diamonds. It sits in the very middle of the Jupiter line. It's a double Jupiter card, if you follow the cards in the charts. And this card was given to certain people on the planet. Like, why did Tom Brady get the life that he got? Think about that. Did he earn it from a past life? And he leveled up? And then when he reincarnated back into this life as Tom Brady, all his code is being expressed, and he earned the 10 diamonds card this time around. But of course, when you get to those levels, if you look at the levels of life, the more money you make, or the more money you earn, the easier life can become, of course, but it can also get very testing because everything you can have. So of course, you have addictions that can easily come to your life. You don't have to work as much or hard in some instances. You can get into trouble easier because everything's at your disposal. So there are pros and cons to everything. But did Tom Brady earn that 10 diamonds card right now in his life? The card that you're at right now. Why were you given that card? Why were you born on the day you were born? Why? Have you ever thought about that? Why was I born on that day? And then, what's the day of the year for your card? Or your day of birth? All these factors, folks, are important to know to figure out your code and why you're here. So let me go to some of these great comments, folks. Thank you, each and every one of you, for your comments. Jared, reincarnation is about not coming back into life. Well, maybe. You see, the challenge we have, folks, no one's left this place and then come back to prove exactly what happens when you leave. Never happened. That's a fact. That's not my opinion. That's a fact. You may get somebody's story in a book saying, oh yeah, I went to the afterlife, but they can't prove it. That's a fact. So the only thing that we can do is decode reality and make sense of all this and try to figure it all out. That's all we can do. That's all we can do, folks, is decode reality and try to figure it out. So let's get some of these comments here. How do you level up when you forget everything in your next life? I don't know. Good question. I can tell you this, though, folks. What matters is right now. What matters is right freaking now. One of the great books I've ever read was The Power Now by Eckhart Tolle. Tough read. First time I had to read the book like 3 times. But, that book was all about living in the now. Doesn't matter what happened in the past, and if you attach yourself to the past, you're going to repeat patterns. And if you look into the future, it can get scary sometimes. But if you live in the right now moment, right in the dead center of that infinity symbol, right in the dead center, that's the now moment. And I was talking about, that leads me into this, I was talking about the hourglass shape. The infinity symbol the 88, in the very dead center, folks. And I think I had gotten this wrong because when I had posted something on pi, which was 3.14 and then 1.3, I had only put 1.3 in the middle. And I think that was a mistake, or at least a watered down version of the truth. I've come to the realization that the number in the middle is 33. So you'd have 33 in the middle, and then you'd have your pi going into the future, 3.14, and then the past is 3.14 going to the left, one going to the left, one going to the right, 33 in the middle, which is where the Christ comes in. And that's why I have a feeling that if you put your faith in that character, you'll get recycled back into the game. Folks, how would you con somebody into making them go back into the game if that's what you're trying to do, to keep energies here? If that's what's going on. A lot of people think we're trapped here. How would you trap somebody here? You would create a story that was so ironclad, no one would ever second guess it. Which is why, when I came out with the Christ battery, it's possible that energy, because the Christ is like this, and the yin yang, and that cycle of life. Folks, if you put that 33 in the middle, I'm going to drop a bomb on you right now, folks. Now, for some of you, you might know what the pole shift is. The pole shift. And it's not a secret that the North and South poles are switching places. They're slowly moving and they're swapping places. And that community, the pole shift community, will tell you that there's going to be massive upheaval when those poles get to their designated spaces or spots. I have a feeling that, we live in an hourglass and the sands of time, they run down to the bottom. We live in the bottom. That's why that song Down in a Hole by Alice in Chains, Jerry Cantrell wrote about it, and he says, here I sit and sands, they comes down on my head. The sands of time from heaven, there's only so much time. And when all those sands run down into earth, into hell, the hellish region where we're at, the game has to be reset. And what do you do, folks, when the egg timer runs out? Have you ever used an egg timer before? When the sands go all the way to the bottom, naturally you'll flip it over to start it over again. So I have a feeling, syncretizing it, the North and South Pole are the two opposite ends of the egg timer. The hourglass. Hourglass equals 33, by the way. And that's why the North and South Pole, they're slowly moving and they're swapping places. And when the South gets to the North and the North gets to the South, all hell's going to break loose because it's going to snap into place. And I believe that's where the reset's going to come in, if there is such a thing. Spreading truth. There has been many resets. That's right. There has been many resets. But folks, I've come to the realization that I don't think we're out of the dark age yet. I think we just entered it. And if you follow astrology and you syncretize this layer, you realize, if we are in the age of Aquarius, we're in the age of information. And that's why transhumanism is more than likely coming into effect. Everybody and their mother right now is literally like this. All the attention is going into this machine, which is just a computer now. All of the energy is going into this thing. Why are people how they cannot see where the energy is going and then say, oh, no, I'm not going to become a machine. Folks, you couldn't live without your phone now. Take it away. You can't do business. Some of you may be able to do that if you're an artist, if you're a painter, but you got to sell your paintings. I bet every single one of you right now, of course, use the computer or your phone because you're watching me on this transmission. So technology is something that is a part of your life. We are moving towards machine, folks. And it's very possible that we will become one with machine, moving into this age of Aquarius. And for the next 2,160 years of the age of Aquarius, we will move into the dark age, the rise of the machines. And that may be a fact, folks. And it will not be until the age of Capricorn. Capricorn is an earth sign in astrology. It may not be until we get into the age of Capricorn to where the rise of the machines gets completely discombobulated. And it ends, and man returns back to earth. That's a very, very good possibility. Because, folks, the handwriting's on the wall. We are moving into cryptocurrency. We are moving into a digital currency. I mean, who here writes a letter by hand and puts a stamp on it and puts it off in the mailbox to send to your friend? Do you do that anymore? More than likely you don't. 99.9% of all people do not do that. They use email. Who here spins records or plays MP3s? 99% of people play MP3s. Do you use a map or do you use navigation on your phone or your navigation in your car? Folks, we're moving towards the age of electricity. Here's a bomb I'll drop on you. Elon Musk. If there is such a thing as reincarnation, I was just talking to my friend about this. Guess who Elon Musk was in his past life? Thomas Edison. Notice the name Thomas. Jesus' twin brother, tied to Lucifer. What is Lucifer known as? The light bringer. What did Thomas Edison bring to the world? Think about that, folks. This world's entirely scripted and rigged, coded. Elon Musk's birthday, between Edison and Elon Musk, 137 days on the calendar. What's 137? 33rd prime number. Yes, folks, I believe Elon Musk, if there is such a thing as reincarnation, and my friend confirmed it, is the reincarnation of Elon Musk. Of Thomas Edison. For sure. Because we just get recycled back in the game, folks. That's just the way I think it's going on. And we move through the astrology rules, the 88 constellations, 88 keys on a piano. It rules over us, the stars. And you level up. If we have any free will, if we do, and I say that with a big if, it would be to level up, to be a better person, to be that humanitarian and philanthropist, or to live out your code. That's why I'm saying is like, if you're sitting at a desk job and you hate it, well, you're not living out your true code. So the first thing to do is recognize that, like, man, I don't like my job. Be grateful for it, though. Constantly live in a state of gratitude, folks. Always remember that. What do I mean by a constant state of gratitude? This is my regimen. When I wake up in the morning, I talk to myself all the time. I'm constantly talking like there's somebody in the room. Maybe you do that. I've been doing that my entire life. I talk to my bed. I give thanks to my pillow. I give thanks to my blankets, my mattress. Then I go in the shower and I'm talking to the shower head because it gives me this nice warm water. And I'm envisioning the water heater that's up on the roof here. And I've visited it a few times because the pilot light went out. I'm talking to that thing because everything's consciousness. And I've become a gratitude junkie. That is only time when I believe we have free will. Because if you look at theology, folks, it says right in the Bible, that God knows the things you need before you ever ask him. So what would be the freaking point of asking then if he already knows? What's the point? He already knows what you need. That's because the game's already scripted and rigged. So if you go into Akashic Records, I've had mine read, it's amazing. It's part of your past. Part of that loop. Who are you going to become in the next life if that's the game? If there's no escaping this, if it really is a prison planet, folks, it doesn't seem like a prison. Life's beautiful sometimes. Sometimes it's not. I know we're batteries. That's why we experience persecution, suffering. Feeds the negative side of the battery. And you have the positive things that feeds the positive side, anode, cathode. But if there is such a thing as the reset in the game of life and we just end up becoming into a different avatar, well then, what are you doing here in this life? Are you wasting your avatar? If we have free will. These are all maybes, folks, and possibilities. Okay? Let's get to some of these comments. Let's see what we got here. Thank you, Queen Consciousness, for your donation. I appreciate you very much. Elon Musk is from my country. Yeah, for Elon Musk, Thomas Edison. Go look up Thomas Edison. Do some For sure, Elon Musk is the reincarnation of Thomas Edison. That's my fact. So that's the fun part, folks, of reincarnation. Like, I get to be somebody else. Which is why I feel that we're moving into becoming machine. I was just having a conversation with my buddy today, who's from the US, about this entire topic. Folks, this is where everybody's at today. Hey, how you doing? What's going on? Oh. This is their best friend now. Where are we going? We're going into machine, folks. Cryptocurrency, digital currency. We're getting out of the physical. Aquarius, the age of information, pouring that water out. Why do you think the internet came around when it did? We are moving into machine, folks, to end the suffering. Because see, this body suffers. I mean, I'm 48. I've been working out since I was 16. My body's beat. I got 2 bad rotator cuffs. I still work out, but I used to be much bigger. I used to compete on stage and not that guy anymore. That was a different chapter in my life, but I'm beat up. I can't run really fast because I blew my knee out. I have a subluxation of my knee. It's just, body's, when I leave this place, I will definitely say that I used up my body, completely used it up. So the whole notion of moving into the age of Aquarius, which is one of the 4 fixed signs. Aquarius is the 11th sign. 11 is the number of magic. Alternating current, electricity. Aquarius is the sign of electricity. Make no mistake about it. And we're in that age right now. I mean, if you go into the scripture, if you fancy theology, Jesus said, "Follow me into the house with a man bearing a pitcher of water." It's astrology. It's a no-brainer. We gotta accept the truth here, folks. So it's very possible we're going to move into transhumanism, and that's the very reason why I feel that the merging of the sexes is what's going on, which is why you have this gender discrepancies. And you have all these people who just really don't know which way they want to go. And they're confused. That was one of the big things I had when I was growing up in religion. It was like, people that are, like I have a lot of friends in LA that are gay. Whatever, I don't care. I've never been one to judge. I've had friends from all different walks of life, all different skin colors. I could care less. If you're cool, and I resonate with you, you're my friend. I'm an Aquarian. But these people, they're like, I was born this way. And you know what the religion I was raised in? That's not true. No, you got to repent. And that's what I am, dude. You know, I mean, that's the game, folks. That's the game. The game is expressing itself. And it's possible that we are going to move into machine. And again, you know, what I was just saying is, you know that movie Ready Player One? That movie? That's what I think is going to happen. Because it's possible that sun that we have outside will lose its luster. It will die out. That star will die out. And we'll have darkness. And we'll completely live off of artificial light for a while, which is electricity. It's why you have Tesla in the cars and electric cars and all that. Moving towards electricity. Aquarius. And you're going to be able to transfer into a machine your consciousness. And then you're going to be able to just put the virtual reality glasses on and you can become anybody you want. Folks, people are doing that now. On my Facebook, I have plenty of friends that have these avatars for their pictures. I don't even know what they really look like in real life. My picture is really me. But a lot of people don't put their real pictures up there. They just get to be who they want to be behind the computer screen. You don't know who they are. You ever heard that expression being catfished? I can honestly tell you, folks, it happened to me one time. I got duped. Yep, it happened to me. I'm not ashamed to admit it. Found out the truth, though, through a friend. I became friends with this dude, and he had to experience the person in real life, and it was funny. It was like, okay. It was kind of funny. But it was a person hiding behind a voice in a picture that wasn't even the real thing. That's where we're headed, folks. See, people can become you can put the glasses on, become anything you want. You can become anything you want inside this box right here. Anything. But it's very possible we're going to move into being a machine to end suffering. The body suffers. Machine, you wouldn't do that. And then you'd be able to move into any reality that you'd want. You know, remember, folks, you know, in the age of Aquarius, you have to understand astrology and the way the cosmos works. The cosmos, if you study Santos Bonacci's work, the cosmos through the Taurus fields, it breathes in and then it breathes out. The ocean tides, low tide, high tide, breathing in and breathing out. The cosmos does the same thing. It breathes in and it breathes out. The Big Bang was the breathing out of the cosmos. That's the Big Bang. And as the Big Bang goes out, everything expands and we get farther away from source, which is where we're at right now. People don't know what to believe anymore. Well, now the cosmos wants it all back. It's going to take its breath inward. Because you see, in the age of Aquarius, the opposite of Aquarius is Leo, the lion. The lion is in August, which in the Tropic of Cancer, in North America, it's the dead of summer. What do people do in the summertime? Take their clothes off. They expand. You go out in the sun. You expand. But Aquarius, in the Tropic of Cancer, it's freezing freaking cold. It's in the dead of winter. Contraction. Contraction, expansion. And I know that's the opposite. People in the Tropic of Capricorn, right now it's the summertime for them. So it's different. But that's what the equator line's for. And then you get into different parameters and all that kind of stuff. But make no mistake about it, folks. We are in an age for the next 2,160 years, which is why they say that's the diameter of the moon. And I personally am leaning towards, and this is subject to change, but I personally think that we are moving towards machine. And that's it. I mean, our lives are such short time that we're here. We're gone, just like that. Boom. And then do we come back to play the game? Do you want to come back? Do we even have a choice to come back? Some people think we do. Can't prove that though. See, I'm all about what I can prove. Theories are great. I show theories on my research. My videos, theoretical. I support it with math and numbers and numerology and blending and syncretizing, all those things. But saying that you go leave this place and you come back, it's a theory. It's not proven. It's not proven, folks. All right, so let's go here. What we got? Taurus and Bull, story about how we are formed from the toroidal sphere. Yeah, folks, I mean, look, the toroidal field. I have a decode coming out on The Architect of the Universe, Part 3. Let me just get this. I have a decode coming out on Architect of the Universe, Part 3. And I'm using Ken Wheeler, some of Ken Wheeler's work. Ken Wheeler had a video on showing you how a magnet works. And he takes a square magnet, a square one, and then he puts this light over it. And when he puts the light over it, you end up having the torus fields, the black holes. It's real. This is real physics now, not an opinion. That's the macro, or the micro to the macro. And it's those two circles. And we sit in the very center. And that's cube called rhodium. Rhodium is the RH, which is why you have RH blood. The two circles, the two black holes that sit on the end of that magnet. Then you have the Trinity. And guess what's in there? The construct of that, folks, is the spider web. Spider web fits right in there. That's why the spider card, if you follow the medicine deck, is card 43. 43 is tied to the tetrahedron and the octahedron, the egg, the pyramid, when you get into the geometrical shapes. It's really interesting, folks, but I have a feeling we're moving towards transhumanism, and that's a very real thing. It's nothing to be scared of. And I think we just need to accept our destiny. That's where the game's going. Make no mistake, that's where the game's going. And we're going to live through machine for 2,160 years, and then we're going to move into the age of Capricorn, which means Earth, the 10th sign, and we're going to move back into being a man again somehow, some way. That's what I feel is going to happen right now. The body is a machine. It is a machine. The body is a machine, folks. Captain Kirk, there we go. Your history is changing constantly through the Mandela effect. Yeah, you know why the Mandela effect is happening, folks? If you believe in that, because we're on the verge of changing of the guards. You have the poles shifting. And as they do that, there's a lot of interference. You have all of us that are decoding reality. Essentially, what we're doing is we're syncretizing everything. We're actually doing a favor for the reset. We're making it come true faster, which is kind of a moot point because the game's going to reset anyway. But the construct of the reset involves all of us that are decoding. Because anytime you take a card and you connect it to a word that connects to a number, you're syncretizing that. You're essentially putting the puzzle together. And you're having a hand in the reset that's about to happen. It's going to happen, folks. If you follow the Planet X system, Nibiru, that's probably wormwood in the theology aspect. Sometime this year or next year, I think it's going to be this year, you're going to see some planetary bodies out there. And right now, there are people that are following. There's a guy, his name's Eric Briggs, friends with the guy. Talked to him a few times. He studies the magnetosphere. He was ex-military. He knows how to read this stuff. He's not like somebody who's self-taught. He was taught how to read the magnetosphere and the magnetic signatures, the ionosphere and all that stuff. And I've been following it for a couple of years. And this is in line, folks, with the story of the Hopi prophecy in the Indian aspect, where you have the blue and red kachina. And that syncretizes with the ancient Egypt stories of the return of Ra and Horus. Because the planetary bodies that are coming, that are going to pass by Earth, they're so big and massive, they're magnets. The Earth is a magnet. But these planets are so much bigger. So right now the Earth has this planet coming towards it, and the push of that planet is causing all this disruption, which is why you're getting all these volcanoes and you're getting earthquakes in places that typically don't happen in those places. Because there's a push on the Earth, and then you have the poles shifting. All this stuff is happening simultaneously, folks. All part of the reset. And maybe you're going to be somebody that'll make it through the reset. Maybe you won't. But I think the exciting part about it is the only thing that can make logical sense, because no one wants to die. You know, Steve Jobs says, everybody wants to go to heaven, but no one wants to die to get there. It's kind of a funny play on words. But folks, your code is your code. And I'm here to tell you loud and clear through all my research, and this is my opinion again, there are no right or wrong ways. There are no such thing as mistakes. And I'm so, honestly, I'm tired of people trying to tell you that, well, the Bible's the absolute truth. That's so old news. Because then I go to those people and I'm like, have you ever read the Upanishads before? No. Well, then how can you say that your book's the right book? It just amazes me where people are just so programmed and dummied down. That's part of the code. And it's possible, folks, that those of us that are waking up, if there is such a thing, to break free from the chains, if that is part of the game, is realizing and recognizing the constructs that we were raised with, they're all bullshit. They're just nothing other than an addiction. Because folks, I just cannot understand or understand why anybody would have to put their belief into thinking that, like the Jesus character, as beautiful of an energy as it is, why do you have to put your faith in that? Imagine that guy, that story never existed. Where would you be right now? Would you be an asshole? Would that give you an excuse to be somebody that just didn't give a shit about life and I don't care about you? I'm not going to be a loving person towards you? If you take that story of the crucifixion and all that hocus pocus, which is what I think it is, are you just going to become an asshole? Not be a good person anymore? Are you going to change? Why do you have to put your faith in something? What's the point? The story does not make any sense. Someone to come die. I don't need anybody to die for me. I'm going to save myself. You got to save yourself. If there is such a thing as saving yourself. Bible's a great book. It's a real dangerous book, though, and I have a feeling that Mr. Yaldabaoth himself controls it, the puppet master. And that's why, you go in that scripture, broad and spacious is the road leading off it into destruction. What's the most popular religion in the world? Christianity. Think about it logically. All the holidays that all you Christians celebrate, you don't even know why you're celebrating them. Celebrate Christmas, put up your little tree, dress up like Santa. What are you doing? Putting out your Easter eggs, having your kids run around and pick up the eggs. What are you doing? Putting on your masks at Halloween. What are you doing? Do you even know what you're doing? Or are you just doing it out of habit? You see, one of the great things that I believe that I got through my decodes in my life is that, see, I grew up not really celebrating anything. It was a tough childhood, but like I look at the religions and I look at the holidays, and they're stupid. I don't want anything to do with the major players on the world stage. No thanks. I've always been a rebel. I've never believed in government and all that kind of garbage. I don't need anybody to tell me how to live my life, to be a good person, and to help people. I've helped people my entire life. I've been the biggest giver my entire life. I don't need a government to tell me how to do that. Those governments, folks, are run by the same God that created your Bible. That's my facts. Romans 13:1. That's why they put their hand on the Bible when they get inaugurated. I feel there's something beyond that. That's where I feel like I'm from. I came here to show you how the game works, not how to play it, because I'm not living through your code. And so, all the religions, they're all currency. All of them. That's why there's tithing, currency, macro to micro. The micro is the physical currency that you put in the hat they pass around, and they shame you for not donating. And then there's the currency of your body. Whenever you go and pray, get on your knees, what are you giving your energy to? See, I find that troublesome. I'm too unsure. So in a sense, you could say I'm that lukewarm guy. I'm not hot or cold. I have a feeling that scripture about, you're neither hot nor cold, you're lukewarm, I'm going to spit you out of my mouth. Great, spit me out. Don't want to play your game anymore. Don't want to play it. If there is such a thing as getting out of the game, folks, I'm sure there's plenty of people out there listening to this broadcast and they agree with me. Don't want to play anymore. Done. If we can even do that. Being lukewarm is in the very center where the most power is contained. Because when you're hot, maybe you're leaning towards trying to prove everybody wrong. Folks, there's over 9,000 religions. What the hell happened to the very first one? Why did there need to be a number 2? And a number 3? There's over 9,000 known religions. Why? Because someone didn't like the way that person expresses how that religion should be and the constructs of that. I say forget them all. Forget them all. Don't need it anymore. You don't need a book to tell you be a good person. All those rules and regulations, they make you suffer. But yet people are so eager to go out there and rush out there and put up their Christmas tree and play tribute to the planets. It just boggles my mind where people's common sense are these days, really. It's a challenge, folks. It's really a challenge. So someone commented on orgasm. Let's talk about that. Having an orgasm, one of the greatest feelings. I mean, folks, why is the human being, why are we wired to like all the bad stuff? Think about it. Use your common sense. I'm going to give you an analogy that I've used before. I'm going to use it again. Let's say I had to feed 100 of you. And I had to pick 2 food choices. One food had to be alive, one food had to be dead. That's how I congregate foods. It's either when you eat something, it's either going to give you life or it's going to take life from you. So an alive food would be vegetables and fruits that give you life. And then a dead food would be like processed foods. Animal protein, dead food. Sugar, dead food. Cookies, candy, chips, soda, it's all dead food. So the two choices of food that I'm going to put on the table to feed 100 of you, there's going to be one side of the table is going to be steamed broccoli with nothing on it. And then the other half of the table is going to be pizza, my favorite food. What food do you think is going to get eaten first? Think about that for a second. Do you think the steamed broccoli is going to get eaten before the pizza? Do you think there's going to be any pizza left over? Folks, if you use your common sense, you realize how we're wired. The human being in this game, we are wired to desire the bad shit. That's the way it is. And we need to stop blaming this stupid, dumbass story of man sinning. Because, folks, if you use your common sense on that story, it goes like this. A perfect God that doesn't do anything wrong creates two perfect human beings, and it doesn't go past them. They screw it all up. The very first two human beings in that story screw it all up, and they're perfect from a perfect God that created them. I thought if you have a perfect God doesn't make imperfect human beings. So the story right there from its origination is just got a huge amount of holes in it. It doesn't make sense. I was raised in the fact that, like, do you know why God allows suffering? Because he's trying to teach the devil a lesson in front of all the angels are watching, and he has to prove a point. And the point is that my people, they're going to worship me because they love me. They're not going to worship me because they need me. So I'm going to allow all this suffering in the world so I can prove to you, devil, that you're wrong. And I need to do it in front of all the other angels because I can't look bad. That's how I grew up, folks. That was how they justified the suffering in the world. It's insane what I was programmed with. I mean, I use the analogy now of if you're a parent, if you're a parent and you have a child or kids, and you consciously knew that they were suffering, and you had the ability to correct it or fix it, would you just let it go on having them suffer? Or would you immediately do anything and everything it takes to stop that suffering? Of course, naturally, we're inclined, we're wired. If we see our children or an animal suffering, we're going to, if you're a good-hearted person, especially your kids, you're going to do whatever it takes to stop your kid from suffering. So we have imperfect human beings wired to end the suffering, but yet we have a supposed perfect, no mistake God that made this reality that allows the suffering and knows we're suffering, but doesn't do anything about it. How much sense does that make, folks? Think about that with your logic. It doesn't make any freaking sense to me. That's why I question everything, especially how I was raised. I was raised to believe that a guy really got swallowed by a fish. His name was Jonah, and he lived in his belly for 3 days and 3 nights and didn't know the significance of the 33. Had to be 3 days and 3 nights because it had to mesh up with the story of the Christ being crucified at the age of 33. And that had to mesh up with the esoteric and the medical aspect that we have 33 spinal vertebrae. Why are these things all in cahoots with one another? Never question that stuff, folks. So you go back to these two first human beings. If they didn't make it as perfect human beings, if they screwed it up, what chance do we have when we're so far away from the source? We don't. We're wired to go for the pizza. We're wired to go towards the things that decay us faster. We're wired towards wanting to have more sex with more people. We're wired on wanting to eat more ice cream, more chocolate cake, more pizza, more cheese, please. Extra cheese, please. The things that taste good are the things that are bad for us. The things that taste bad are the things that are good for us. That's why, there's a great show that came out on Netflix called The Good Place. Created by a guy who's Jewish. That show was about being down here in the good place, but it's a place of suffering, and it's just all a big facade. See, folks, man is an experiment. If you can get through that, I'm not going to force it on you, but mankind is an experiment. We experiment on rats in a cage, we get experimented on. We're energetic food. Keep this battery alive. That's why in the Bible it says, be plentiful. Go procreate. Make babies. Oh, sure. Because you're going to deliver more energy to whatever's collecting the energy. Wants as many human beings as possible. Makes sense. So folks, I don't have all the answers, but look, this is definitely a place of suffering and pleasure. That's why I came out with the Decode pain and pleasure. But they're owned and operated by the same source. So it dangles the carrot of, you'll worship me and I'll put you into the tree of life. And you'll be, you're going to go to heaven. Or you're going to, when I was a JW, it was, you're going to live on a paradise earth forever and never die, never grow old. Maybe that's true for them. Maybe we create fractals and we create our own beliefs. The next time we come around, we end up living through that reality. But if you ask me, religion's being dissolved because there's no need for it anymore. And we're now in the information age and we're moving towards machine. And it's a no-brainer. Like I said, folks, we listen to MP3s. The technology is so far advanced right now. Why would it be so far-fetched to think we're moving into machine? So if you fancy religion and that works for you, great. If you fancy that. But I'm my own person, and I believe that the only person that can save you, the one thing that I do look at is the kingdom is within you. Yeah, it's inside of you. And where are we going? Inward. Age of Aquarius, going inward. So let's see, go to some of your comments here. 1,000 years apparently is one day to God. Yeah, but there's no way to prove that. Shauna Moss, 1,000 years apparently is one day to God. Yeah, well, how are we to prove that? And it really, I guess it doesn't make a difference. Maybe that is the case. And again, when you envision God, folks, what are you envisioning? Are we talking about the God that created this reality? It's much more powerful than us, whoever that is, whatever that is. Or is there something beyond that God? Because there are 8 million people. Why do we think there's just one God? That wouldn't make any sense. Let's get to some of these comments. Religions and the churches, mosques, and synagogues are all the cult of Saturn and the Jesuits. Folks, let's tackle that topic. The Jesuits. I need you to understand something or understand something, folks. This entire world is scripted. Like when you write the software on a computer, like the operating system, I have an Android, a Samsung, and the operating system is Android based, whatever version it is right now. Someone wrote that software for it to operate and run. Someone wrote the operating system of the game of life. And that's why the trees do what they got to do. The wind does what it does. The sun, it's all programmed. Sun moves in an arc-like fashion. The moon, it's so it appears. It's all part of the software. Well, folks, I've proven now in so many different videos on so many different topics. Pick whatever you want. From mainstream to the esoteric. Everything is coming to the same origins, which means that man's not doing a damn thing. So when people sit here and say it's the Jesuits, they're doing their job. Then am I excusing them? Of course not. Ted Bundy, one of the most well-known serial killers. Why did he do that? It was his code. Do you get mad at him for it? Maybe. But folks, people are sitting here, especially the Mason stuff is just so ridiculous. The Masons use the Bible. Same as the Protestants and the Baptists and the Seventh-day Adventists and the Mormons, they all use the same stuff, man. The Jesuits are the knights on the chessboard. They are the knights of the Vatican. That's their job. Do they control everything? No, of course they don't. Because they're being used. They're not in control of their lives. Just like you're not in control of your life. Everything's scripted. Your life is scripted, folks. I've shown it countless times now. I mean, I don't... People, catching on now, and it's not a scary thing to know that your life's coded. It's just the way it is. Know your code. I mean, it's like buying a car. Here's a great example for you, folks. Not knowing your code is like buying a car with a turbocharger and never smashing the gas to feel the turbocharger's power. Buying a brand new car and not using the power windows ever, not using the air condition ever, but you always had, I didn't know my car had air conditioner. Man, this whole time I went through the whole summer and I sweated my ass off. Didn't know the car had air condition. I mean, that's a pretty basic example, but that's how it works, folks. It's like buying a car and never using the features on the car. Like if some of you buy the car and you have that backup camera and you got to turn the camera on and you never turn it on. You're like, I never knew I had the camera. That's what it's like to live your life and not know all your code. That's what I believe. So this life right here that you live is your code. The Jesuits, they're playing out their code. The Pope and the Vatican. Folks, that's why Jorge, the current Pope, his name in numerology, guess what it equals? 66. How many books in the Bible? 66. Donald John Trump, 66 in numerology. Michael Richard Pence, 66 in numerology. Only in the Chaldean, by the way. What's being blown by the angels in the end of Revelation? The trumpets. What happens when you take Trump and Pence and bring it together? You get trumpets. The guy had no chance. Trump was, he's living out his code. That's what he's doing. I mean, I decoded the whole thing with everything. His whole life's coded. If you watch my decode on the Chosen One decode is Trump is Jupiter in the astrological sense. It's tied to Jupiter. Tetragrammaton. His inauguration, his impeachment, Tetragrammaton. It's all 47. It's all tied to Jupiter and Saturn, Father, Son. All of it. Every single bit of it. So getting upset at somebody, getting emotionally involved with politics is a bad idea. Because you give him your currency. If you hate Joe Biden, he'll gladly take your currency. He doesn't even know you, and you end up empowering the guy because you hate him, can't stand him. You talk about him like he's an asshole. Oh, he's the worst thing. No. Joe Biden's just doing his job. I mean, do you get mad at animals for doing their job? Do you get mad at the sharks for eating other fish, praying mantis for eating other animals, insects? They're just doing their job, folks. This whole entire code is organic. And I've supported it over time and time again. Man's not doing anything. You get into sports and you decode sports, and you're going to see so much symbolism in the background, numbers, and you get into movies. I'm watching the show 24. I mentioned that earlier in this transmission. And there's all these room numbers they're going into. And then when you know what you're looking for with the numbers, and you go through the entire show and you realize, man, they would never get anything done on the set. They'd have to set everything up with everything specifically tied to these numbers and room numbers and floor numbers and what's on the license plate and what's on the tractor over there and what's on the front of, what's on the sticker on the windshield. Folks, I decode it all, man. And I can see the code. And it's absolutely irresponsible of us and disrespectful to whatever created this reality to think that man's coding this. Sure, I can see man picking something, putting in the background, something that they want to put there as an object. But folks, just going through one entire show on 24 with Kiefer Sutherland, just one show, one 44-minute segment, there's like 100 different symbols in there. Do you realize what goes into that? Of what a producer, director, and then all the conspiracy, all the people that have to be involved in it. It's not possible, folks. What you're seeing is the organic code. Same with sports. You have to have football, perfect example. 11 guys on offense, 11 guys on defense. Every single one of those guys would have to be in on the conspiracy. Because if one guy's not in on it, and he goes after the football to intercept it, and he does, and he screws the score up, what the score was supposed to be, there goes your freaking score. But that's why decoders right now are finding these anomalies, and they're finding all these patterns and codes, and they're able to predict games because they're tapping into the organic code. Man's not doing anything, folks. Sports is completely rigged. Man is just playing out the script. They're not in control of the blueprint. You'd have to have the coaches, the players, the managers. They'd have to be on the conspiracy. It's not possible, folks. And then where they build the stadiums and the addresses and the latitude, longitudes and all the construction workers, they'd have to be on it too. Do you know how absurd that sounds, folks? But that's actually what some people think in the decoding world. They got a large wake up coming to them when they realize that it's not man doing anything. I mean, I got a decode coming out on Minecraft, most popular video game ever built. It's about building cities, about building people, families, and organizations, and whatever else that game allows you to build. What do you think's going on down here? Sim City, simulation. See, folks, we're the little bees, the worker bees. We're constructing the mind that's controlling us outside of our physical reality. It's controlling us remotely. And that ties into the Watchers and all those other stories. Folks, our lives are not our own. And when you can see that, life gets so much easier because you realize, like, I'm just going to have fun with the code. I want to know more about the code. Folks, all I do is decode reality. That's all I do. I sit in front of this computer. I sacrifice myself because it's my code. Put out these videos, part of my artistic flair. I do everything myself, graphics, taught myself everything. But I tirelessly do it 10, 12 hours a day. I'm not trying to win a gold medal. I don't monetize any of my old stuff. You know, like I'm maybe getting into that to support my mission now, but folks, I've done it because it's part of my code and I realize that it's my code. And then I feel good about doing it. Like I wake up happy every day. I love my life. I'm in a position where that's where I'm at. Because I decided that I was going to own my code, my space. I decoded myself. That's what I do. I do readings for people. I help them find their code. That's what I do. So let's go to some of these. Yeah, Thomas Citrus, Minecraft. Folks, wait till I come out with that one, folks. Minecraft, the game. The guy who created it, his life. I got that guy in the Decode. Do you think he's trying to mock anybody? The guy that created Minecraft, his complete life is coded and scripted into the game Minecraft. He was supposed to create the game. Most popular game of all time. But you know what people are going to do? He's a Freemason. He's a Jesuit. They're trying to mock you through Minecraft. That's what they're doing. That's where some people's logic's at, folks. Folks, there's no difference between September 11th attacks and Minecraft. No separation. It's all part of the same code, the organic code. You take 11 people on offense, 11 people on defense, they come together, they form two teams, they play offense and defense, they express their code. Human beings are just expressing the code that was written by energies outside of us that wrote the blueprint. We didn't write the blueprint, folks. And anytime you write up a blueprint, it's just a macro to micro. It's a watered down version of the macro. So Peace Circle, that's why they get paid millions. I'm not interested in their money. Peace Circle 360, that's why they get paid millions with non-disclosure agreements in their contracts because, yes, from the referees to the coaches to the third-string backup players, they're all part of the NFL brotherhood. Well, Peace Circle, do you have proof of that, or is that just your opinion? You see, it's so easy to throw that out there. Yeah, they're all in on it. Well, do you have any proof of that? Where's the contract to prove that? Or is that just your opinion? It's just your opinion. That's a fact. What you just said right there, that's your opinion. Folks, it's all organic, okay? All of it. That's why when you look at a sports game and you see all the symbology in the background, people doing this and doing that, folks, you'd never do anything in your life if you were constantly having to be in actor mode, like, oh, I got to say this at this time, I got to make this thing, and I got to wear this, and folks, you'd never get anything done. I can look at a sports game and I can pick out hundreds of things during the game, all these moving parts. Even Zach Hubbard, who is, I got started because of him. I didn't learn from him. I got started because of him. He inspired me. But he doesn't think it's organic. That's totally cool. It's fine. He's entitled to his opinion. But even he said after the Super Bowl, he's like, and don't quote me on this, but he said, I can't explain it, how they get all this code in there. It's just, I can't explain it. Something along those lines. Yeah, well, I'll tell you why you can't explain it, Zach. That's because man's not doing it. Too many moving parts. And folks, those of you that decode sports, every time you add on a different cipher of numerology or gematria, these crazy ones that I don't even know where they came from, every time you add on another one that's different from the previous one, you make the code that much more complicated. And then you realize with common sense and logic that man would have to add that one on and this one on. Every time I add on the cards in the tarot. and extend and extend and extend. It just makes it that much more complicated. And it wouldn't be possible for man to do it. It's all organic, folks. It's all organic. Do you believe the elites might just be playing a role on God? We're all playing out the role. And I would advise you, or I'm not even advise you, that's a bad word. I'm going to suggest that all of you that are saying elites, stop using that word, because they're not elite. Because if they're elite, then you're elite. They're just people. Giving these people way too much credit. I don't call them elites. They may have more knowledge than me and you, but they're far from elite. Decode Tupac. I did start decoding Tupac a little bit. Interesting decode. His life wasn't his own either, just like I've shown Michael Jackson and Prince and Jim Carrey and the Truman Show. And these people they're all expressing their code. They're not even in control of their life. Play with the cards you're dealt. That's right. Spreading truth. But are the elites, are those people awake like us? There has to be. They have to be. It's common sense. You got to use, folks, just strip it down to common sense and logic. Strip it down to that. Forget all the dogma and propaganda and who does what and what kind of organization. Listen, everybody's doing their job. Like if you work at a company and you have a job to do, but you're the person that sits across from your cubicle, they have a different job to do. They're doing their job, you're doing your job. Together, you're creating an experience. That's the way it works, folks. What about former players that have come out saying the games are not decided? What did somebody say here? What about former players that have come out saying the games are not decided on the field? Peace Circle. What about the former players that have come out saying the games are not decided? Again, folks, I'm going to clearly tell you again, you're getting caught up in the dogma. You're getting caught up in the details. I don't care what former players come out and say that the games are not decided on the field. I don't care. Doesn't matter what anybody says, folks, man's being used. If you don't believe that, please go watch my longest home. I'm coming out with the guy who hit the longest golf ball. His name was Mike Austin. Longest drive in professional golf. 515 yards. Life wasn't his own. I'm going to support it coming out. Now, what kind of mockery would that entail to show to the world that Mike Austin hit the longest golf ball? How is that trying to mock you? Trying to pull the woolly over your eyes? That doesn't make any sense, folks. I'm decoding the Guinness Book of World Records. Folks, man's not doing anything, okay? I don't really know I don't know what else to say to some of you. Some of you just don't want to accept that. Demonically possessed people, it seems to be. Folks, we're all part of the remote control. We all have handlers. That's what I believe. When you walk your dog, you handle your dog. Who's handling you? All right, Adrian, do you know anything about the parasites that people are starting to become aware of, the ones that feed off of our emotions? The parasites, folks, depends on how you want to narrate that story. The Greeks called it ambrosia, food for the gods, energetic food for the gods. How do we start our decode ourselves? The big fella, how do we start it? I came out with a video on how to decode yourself on my YouTube channel. Go to my YouTube channel, go under the videos, click on videos, and it's there. Or you just go in the search box, how to decode yourself. Start there. If you want a personal reading, hit me up. Send me an email, decodeyourreality@gmail.com. Do I do them for free? No. Got to have a reciprocation with the energy fields, if you know anything about that. What is my connection to your video on? Decode Malcolm X. Folks, just to prove, again, well, I shouldn't say prove because that's to support. I have all the slides done for a decode on Gandhi. You know who Gandhi is? One of the good guys, if you want to place him in that category. Well, guess what, folks? I expose all his code. Where he was born, his name, his alchemology, all of it. Do you think Gandhi was a Freemason? Or a Jesuit trying to mock you? Gandhi has nothing to do with that stuff. He was a lawyer. Studied law. Was one of the good guys, supposedly. Yet his life wasn't his own. But he was playing out his code. Folks, the best way I can describe it is if you ever play a video game like Super Mario Brothers, whoever created Super Mario Brothers had to write the code for Mario to move and shoot fireballs, and that's the code of Mario. You have your code. I have my code. And we have limitations. You're good at some things. I'm good at some things. You're good at better things than I am at this and that. Well, I didn't even say the right words. I'm getting tired. I have to end this transmission. But some things you're better at than I am. That's your code. Tom Brady throws a better football than I do. Part of his code. Not part of my code. Jimmy Page plays a great guitar. Part of his code. Go watch my decode on Led Zeppelin, folks. Please go watch that decode. Those four guys came together to form one of the greatest rock bands ever. I exposed all their code. All the numbers, birthdays, their cards, coming together, all four of their cards. How is that possible? I'm discovering the code. And you know what some people will say? This is what we'll get from people. Well, Led Zeppelin, they were worshiping the devil. They sold their souls. That's why you're seeing the code. It's just funny. Folks, paradigms are going to smash soon. Paradigms are going to be smashed. And we're going to have to let go a lot of our program beliefs because they just won't work anymore. And a lot of our paradigms are going to be tightly holding on to, like, I can't let that one go. It's part of me. It's like that, in your closet, when you go in your closet and there's that shirt that still has the tags on it and you just haven't worn the damn thing. You've owned it for like 2 years, but yet you won't get rid of it. Like, I don't want to get rid of that shirt or blouse. I've had it for so long. Still got the tags on it though. It's brand new, but I'm not going to give it away. So you just hang on to it. That's how some of our beliefs are, folks. You're hanging on to some of your beliefs like they're part of your body, like it's your arm. Folks, we're going through these ages, and when we move through these, especially this age is the information age. That's why it's I know thyself. That's why everything is being exposed now, and there's no more secrets. Because we're in the information age. When you're in the information age, there's no such thing as secrets. So of course you're going to see all the code. That's why all these great decoders out there, they're seeing all this code and they're like, oh my God, all these things are connecting. Yeah, that's the organic code called the game of life. It's written in the software. It's like Mario Brothers getting written. Mario does this, Mario does that. Donkey Kong throws the barrels down at Mario. That's the code of Donkey Kong. That's the way this works, folks. It's really simple. When you look at this code, you can simplify and realize that it's not that complex. It's complex, but it's really simple. It's organic. And I told you watch my longest home run hit, Joey Myers, Denver Zephyrs. Not only did he hit the longest home run, it's connected to the Zephyr train. And then you go and connect the Zephyr train to how long the railroad is. And there's a code there. And that's tied to the Wizard of Oz. What the hell does a train have to do with the longest home run? Has everything to do with it. That's why the train is connected to the Wizard of Oz, which is connected to the guy who hit the longest home run. Joey Meyer. He wore the number 0. If you know what, the 0 is 26. That's the GOD. GOD equals 26. Folks, it's organic. When you play a video game and you control that character, when you're playing your fantasy, when you're playing your football, your Madden 2020, and you're playing the quarterback, you're in control of the remote. Macro to micro. The macro is you, the micro is the computer, the game. Well, when you look at we're the micro, the macro is outside of our reality, controlling us remotely. Shown this over and over. We have handlers. That's why I'm saying, like, you can look at your cards. You know, if you take these cards of illumination, typical poker deck, 52 cards, 52 weeks, 4 suits, 4 seasons. I can send you your card and the description of it. That my friend Sharon, who lives right next door here in Mexico, she's been reading the cards 40 years, longer than that. Super smart. Her description of your card and your birthday will be about 95% accurate. How's that possible? Wrap your mind around that and tell me how that's possible. And it's 95% for everybody I've ever sent their card to. How did she do that? Doesn't know you. But yet I can send you that description and it will describe you to a T. How? How's that possible? She tapped into the code. She knows the code. That's why your card's so accurate. That's why your astrology is accurate if you get an interpretation of it from somebody that knows what the hell they're doing. Your numerology, your life path. What's your personality type in the Briggs-Myers? How's that so accurate? That's your code, folks. That code was written by man, but the blueprint behind the writing was not done by man. The Bible, great example. Written by man, inspired by God. That's what I was taught. Man wrote it, but it was inspired by the divine. Well, folks, everything in this world is divinely inspired. Everything. Every single thing. Everything. And man's the experiment. Make no mistake about it, folks. Richard Donahue, every person here is a troll. Nice message, bud. I don't know if you meant that towards everybody here is a troll, trolling this transmission, or you think I'm a troll and everybody else is a troll because we're on here talking about this. I don't know. These are my opinions. But reality goes up levels. When you're ready for it, you'll get to the next one. Adrian Sharp. Maybe. Richard Donahue, mine says I'm here to bring light. Awesome. You know, folks, you know what's interesting? I can go to each and every one of you. I know there's going to be some exceptions, but I can go to each and every one of you and say, describe yourself to me. Let's sit face to face. Tell me about yourself. And you know what I typically get from people? Well, I'm a nice person and I love animals and, I'm good at this. I can draw really good. And I love cars. I like driving fast down the freeway. And that's not your code. I mean, it is, but tell me esoterically what makes you tick. Why are you here? What's your number? Your birthday? If you're born on the 15th, what does the 15 mean? That's your code, folks. And the more you know your code, the more you own that space, the higher your frequency is going to go up. That's what I feel, how it works. So let's attend to this troll comment. Folks, there's no such thing as a 5-star rating. Ever. You're never going to keep a 5-star rating. Time will decay that. You may have one for a short period of time, And then you're going to get thumbs down. You're going to get dislikes. You're going to get people persecuting you. Not everybody agrees with my philosophy and my theories and my opinions and truths. And that's why I stick it right in front of every single video to state to all of you, these are my opinions and truths. Make the truth your own. That's the best statement I can tell you. So you're going to get trolls, if you want to call them that. No, they're just people that don't agree with you. You may get some bots on here. What about the civilization that dwells in Argartha in an earth? Are they coded? Well, Silver-Tongued Red Wolf asks, what about the civilization that dwells in Argartha? Well, can you prove that first and foremost? Do you know people that actually live in the inner earth? Have you met them? And have you been to the inner earth with pictures and video of showing that supporting evidence? See, that's where my level is at, folks. I'm all about empirical, what I can prove. I'm not so much on the faith thing. Not saying it's not true, Silver-Tongued Red Wolf. But if there is a civilization inside the earth, yes, that's coded as well. The ants, the scorpions, they're all part of the ecosystem. Let's get to, do you think we'll get past the corona hoax? Well, is the corona a hoax? Let's talk about that. Is the coronavirus a hoax? Maybe. Or did we just rename the flu and made it stronger? Because you see, folks, the reason why this whole thing going on with COVID is working because everybody's focused on it. Anytime you ever think about coronavirus and COVID, anytime you ever talk about it, anytime you ever write about it in an email, anytime you ever discuss it on the phone with somebody, you that are doing these things, you are giving COVID life and you're keeping it alive. You're a byproduct of helping it stay alive. The only way that something will go away, especially an idea, is stop thinking about it, stop talking about it. You don't give it any, everything's energy. So do I think we're going to get past this corona? I'm not even going to say hoax. If you think it's a hoax, that's totally fine. I don't really care. I'm kind of neutral to it. I don't really care if it's real or not. If it is, it has a high success rate. So you should be focused on that anyway. If you get it, then you get it and you overcome it, and that's it. I mean, have you ever gotten the flu before? I have. It sucks. But here I am talking to you right now, and I've had the flu in my past. So do I think we're going to get past it? Of course. It's going to get sunny out tomorrow. Should anyway. Here in Mexico, it's been stellar weather. There are your opinions and beliefs, a lot of us here, and I'm glad you're here to shine a little light. Well, folks, a lot of people say that a whole New Age thing is like, I'm a light worker. No, you work in the light. I don't give off any light. If I turn these lights off and stuff, you ain't going to see me. Go in a pitch black room and you ain't going to see anybody. So you're not a light worker. You work in the light. It's a big difference. There's a big difference on that. So I'm here to do my code. That's all I can tell you. I'm out here expressing my code. I'm living out my code. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm being responsible. I'm doing my job, if you will. That's why I don't like trying. That's why it's like pointing the finger and blaming organizations. Like that gives them more power. You know, those that are decoding, that are constantly blaming these organizations, essentially, you know what they're doing? They're giving them more power. They're making them more powerful by talking about them and blaming them. That's what they're doing. I'm not interested in that. I'd rather decode geometry and the torus fields and real science and physics. And those codes are showing up the same way as sports, movies, music, and all that stuff. It's all organic, folks. All the codes I'm finding in sacred geometry and shapes, platonic solids, and science and physics and dielectricity and magnetism, guess what I'm finding in those codes? The same codes that are in sports and music and movies. So if you think man's coding sports, music, and movies, Well, then they must have coded and created this entire reality that we live in, and torus fields, and they created everything, and they created the Big Bang, and if that's real, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying it's real, but they created this world. They created the oceans and the waves, and they filled up the oceans. If you think people are coding sports and music, because the sports and music is encoded with the same numbers as what is inside the physics and torus fields and all that stuff. So how do you explain that? Jane L. Still waiting for your thoughts on their satanic symbols they use. Well, see, you're labeling it as satanic, Jane. A symbol is a receiver and giver of energy. So you're labeling it satanic. They're just doing their job. If you didn't have... See, your body, Jane, right now, your body right now. Inside your body, you have white blood cells. What's the job of white blood cells? Think about this now. Do you have to tell the white blood cells to do anything, or they just do whatever they got to do by programming? They do everything by programming. The white blood cell's job is to go out there and battle the bacteria that comes into the body. It's the stormtrooper, it's the killer. White blood cells are killers. They clean up the body. That's their job. I mean, do you call a praying mantis satanic? Is a shark satanic? You see, the symbols, Jane, are part of the code construct. Like the Nike symbol. Is that satanic? It's definitely, in my opinion, the rings of Saturn. Not in your face, but it's a piece of that. And then you can bring in the Greek mythology and the Greek goddess of, Nike. But is it satanic? And then you need to define satanic. What does satanic mean to you? See, Satan means earth. We've been programmed, and I'm not belittling what you believe, by the way, but see, people have been programmed through biblical sources that it's Satan's the bad guy. You can't even pinpoint that character other than an idea. There's not, like, this is a pen. It's a pen. See, Satan is such an abstract construct, that idea. But it's part of the code, folks. Satan is just time. That's what it means. Satan equals 14 in numerology. Time equals 14 in numerology. God equals 14 in numerology. Satan and Saturn. Saturn runs time, the god of time, Chronos. Chronos comes from chronographic watches. Watches measures time. We only get so much time. Then the game resets. Then a new set of circumstances come in. And everything in the past will be forgotten about. So, folks, the life is a big contradiction. It's a complete contradiction. Jay Loya, you're a Scorpio rising. I'm a Scorpio rising in the Western, but I'm a Libra rising in the Vedic system. So you got to read from both. Some of you have that, where you'll be on the cusp, and you got to read from both. Let's see what else here, maybe. Peace Circle 360, Decode the Georgia Guidestones. I've already done that, my friend. Go to my YouTube channel, click on the videos, go to the search box, type in Georgia Guidestones, and then you'll have the video that I did. I think it was last year or the year before. And that'll tell you what's, the ideas of the theories behind what's running that. It's part of the code. Georgia Guidestones. Again, folks, it's just realizing everybody's got a job to do. And every time you talk bad about somebody, you give them energy. And you're judging those people. And you don't even have to say it. If you're thinking, it's a precursor to the spoken word. So the best thing you can do is to focus on yourself. Go inward. Contain your power. A lot of you give your power away to outside sources. That's why I'm very neutral to things. For me, I realize how this game works. I understand. I feel like I know how this game works. Everybody's got a job to do. They did a study on the wolves, and they took them out of Yellowstone Park. You can go research this. And then they put them back in that ecosystem, and that ecosystem thrived. But when they took them out, it collapsed. So if you take the predator out of the ecosystem, that ecosystem will collapse. Think about that. Think about it. If you just observe nature, take the wolf out of the ecosystem, it will collapse. If you go watch the documentary called The Biggest Little Farm, it's an ecosystem. This couple builds a farm. They restore this farm. And it has all these animals. And they slaughter some of the animals and they eat some of the animals. And some of the animals have a job to do. You take something out of the ecosystem and it collapses that ecosystem. That's how this reality works, folks. If you're not challenged in life, you get lazy, complacent. We all do it. Challenging things is what makes us move forward, moving towards our fears. That's why here in duality, it's fear and love. That's what makes up our reality, which I did a decode on Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving Decoded. Thanksgiving Decoded. Thanksgiving is around the year 1621. 1621 is fear and love in numerology. Every time you celebrate Thanksgiving, you're celebrating your duality. That's what I feel Thanksgiving is all tied to. So what made us go from nice people many years ago to destructive people now? The big fella asks, what made us going from nice people many years ago to destructive, evil people now? Well, I think each and every one of you would agree that the majority of the world aren't nice people. Even if they're asleep, they're nice people, right? And there are a small selected few that are the evil ones, if you will. If you really stacked it up versus the good versus evil, there'd be more good people. Look at your body on the inside of your body. If you opened up your body and were able to look at the white blood cells, the good guys and the bad guys, well, if you're healthy, you got more good guys than you do bad guys. If you're sick, you got more bad guys than good guys for a time period. And if you're majorly ill, you have a very big imbalance. And I know nutrition well. It's been my forte. Studied nutrition my whole life. So you just simply look at the body and realize that we're a microcosm. And no one takes care of your body. If you're married, your wife or your husband, they have no control over your white blood cells. They may affect you emotionally, but they don't have any effect on your white blood. You have your white blood cells in your body, and that's it. So essentially, that's why it says, make the kingdom your own. Go within. The kingdom's within you. Make the truth your own. Don't listen to... I'm just one voice, folks. It's ultimately going to be up to you what you want to believe, not me. I'm just giving you my code and telling you. I feel like people say, well, Logan, why are you here? Folks, if I showed you my code, it would make a lot more sense, but I'm not interested in really expressing and showing my code and trying to brag and say I don't care about that. I'm trying to help the world. I can clearly tell you my code is to stand in the very middle, neutrality, observe both sides, observe the villain, observe the superhero, knowing they both have a job to do. observe the white blood cells, observe the bacteria in the body, the virus, knowing they have a job to do. If I take my white blood cells out of my body, I'm a dead man. If you take the wolf out of the ecosystem collapses. Everything is on a level of what's called homeostasis, balance. That's how this world works. It's being balanced. And I think people can't comprehend that. But the world, majority of the world are designed around being a good person. You know, they may be a little bit selfish and whatever, but, you know, they're more service to others. It's the very few that are service to self that are really in a state of fear. And maybe they're draconians that came here from a different planet. That's possible. I'm not ruling that out. But that's the game. Like, imagine you're the divine. You're like, oh, I'm a little bored. Folks, if you're the divine that created this reality and you've been around for all eternity, which is very hard for us to comprehend, you'd get bored with the same routine. Some of you are bored with your routines, getting up and going to work. And I love that saying is, instead of committing suicide, people go to work. But some of you are so conformed to your lifestyle, you could do it with your eyes closed. You could drive to work blindfolded. I mean, you don't need instructions on how to brush your teeth, tie your shoes, take a shower. You do everything mechanically now. You probably towel your body off exactly the same. You brush your teeth exactly the same. You chew probably the same amount of times on every bite. If you're the divine and you created this reality, you've been around so long and the game has changed so many times. That's why the game changes. You get bored. It's like, let me give you a perfect example. I just came out with this. These are my Beat Puma sneakers. I have 2 pairs of these, and I alternate them. And I've had these new since I came here to Mexico, and they're beat. They're all scuffed from the rocks because it's all cobblestone streets. The soles are starting to split here, you know. I wouldn't even let you smell them, but they were once brand new. And now they're worn. And I'm actually looking for a new pair because they're almost beyond the state of wearing them. But they were once new. That's our game, folks. You buy shoes, you wear them, and then it's time to go out to a party. And you ladies know this. Got to get a new dress. Got to get a new dress for the party. Well, you got 50 other dresses in the closet. Why don't you go wear one of those? I've worn those a lot of times. Kind of bored with those dresses. Folks, think about you being the divine. You've been here all eternity. You're bored. Do you really care about the lives of human beings? Maybe. Because we're the highest form of creation. But folks, do you care about every ant that you step on that you don't even know you stepped on? When you walk outside, do you know how many insects you kill? Do you go home and cry about that? Do you mourn over those ants that you step on every day? They have families too. They're part of a colony. And yet each and every one of us walk outside every day and we kill these ants and insects without giving it any thought. And then we go home and we don't sit there and mourn over the death of these ants that we step on, or spiders or caterpillars or crickets or whatever. Why are their lives not important but ours are? They got families too. You see, when you start thinking in this layer and you realize that the game that we're in, this ecosystem, is designed to where it's a reset. It's the sneaker. you get bored, or the sneaker gets old, it's time for a new set of sneakers. It's time to go buy the new dress. Whatever created this reality gets bored. I get bored. I know you get bored. Things have to change. That's why we're moving into cryptocurrency, because the fiat currency is all but used up. That way doesn't work. That way doesn't work anymore, folks. Some of you are just fighting it like, oh no, I'm going to just go get a whole bunch of gold. And you know what the theology says about that? They'll be throwing their gold into the streets. Part of the playbook. We're moving into the digital age, folks. We're moving, in my opinion, we're moving towards and into transhumanism, and there's no stopping it. And maybe those of you that don't want to, you're creating your own fractals, and you won't. Maybe you're going to create your own reality. I mean, it's fun being a human being, right? I mean, I wish I could go back and relive my 20s again. It was a lot of fun. Played a lot of sports. Went in the military, served the country for 4 years. I did all that fun stuff. But, the fun thing about reincarnation is like next time I come back, I have a totally different set of code. Brand new pair of shoes, brand new dress to wear to the party. But again, folks, it goes back to the divine. It's like if you've been here all eternity, you're going to get bored. And the ants are not going to matter as much anymore. It's like, conformity is a killer. If you go and live by the ocean and you first move to the ocean, you're going to be all excited, like, oh my God, I got a house right on the ocean. And you're marveling at the ocean and the views, listening to the waves, and you may go sit on the beach. And over time, you know what happens? Life happens. And that beach doesn't mean to you as much as it used to. Same thing with the new car. Here's a perfect example, folks. When you buy, it's so funny too. You've been around those people that buy a new car, right? You get in there, they're like, oh, I just got a new Mercedes. Oh, cool. Let's go for a ride. It's $100,000 Mercedes or Jaguar or Ferrari, whatever. And you have you get in their car, you're like, oh, you can't eat in here. No, I don't allow anybody to eat or drink. You can't smoke in the car. You can't eat in the car. And then 6 months later, you get in the car and there's French fries on the floor. And there's like a wrapper under the seat from Burger King. And there's dirt all over the carpet. It's like, what happened? Well, the car is not a shiny new toy anymore. Now, there are exceptions. I know people that take care of their stuff, but it doesn't mean the same as when it was brand new, folks. When you buy that brand new dress and you wear it, and you show it off at that party, and you're feeling really good, that dress is going to end up in your closet just like the other 50,000 you got in the closet, you ladies. And you're like, oh, I've worn that 10 times. I'm over that dress. What do you think this reality is all about, folks? The creator's like, nah, I'm bored with that kind of style of the game. Don't really care. That's how our reality works, folks. It's a big joke. It really is. It's a freaking big joke. Life's a big contradiction. So let me just see if I can get to some of your comments. I'm going to end this because it's almost 2 a.m. and I'm probably trying to keep my voice down. Thank you to everybody who donated tonight. I greatly appreciate you. And folks, if you're just wanted to give a shout out to my sponsor. It's called the Healers Project. And let me just kind of move my microphone. Here's my shirt. So limited edition human. If you want this t-shirt, these are really good quality t-shirts. You want to go to thehealersproject.com and go to the sale items, and this t-shirt is purposely put on sale pick yourself up one. Support this mission. It's one of my sponsors. But, I came up with this design. This was my idea. And, I think it's cool. Limited edition human. We're all limited edition. And I wear it proud, It's interesting when you wear it around here in Mexico because they call us gringos here. But they know you're a gringo because, got an English t-shirt on. And I don't look Spanish. So, but anyway, a shout out to my sponsors, the Healers Project. And, a shout out to all of you folks. All of you out there, whether you agree with me or not, we have our disagreements. And I'm sorry if I ever offended you. And if I ever debated you or, stood my ground while you stood yours. No, I still love everybody, man. I'm an Aquarian. And it's a challenging world to be in right now. It's very tough to put even a post out. There's a group in Facebook called Ancient Esoteric Knowledge. It has about 100,000+ followers. And it's challenging to put out my posts in those groups because people just don't get my code, what I'm showing. They're living in their own truths and they don't get my code. And it's a lonely world sometimes when you're in the decoding world and you have gotten to the level of consciousness to see around you really how life works. And this is just my opinion. But through all the differences of all of us, my life has nothing to do with yours. I may influence your life. You may influence mine. But ultimately, folks, what matters is what you think. Because if you know how this world works, everybody's living in your world. You live in my world, I live in your world. You don't wake up and live through my life. You live through your own set of eyes, and I live through mine. So just keep doing you. That's what matters the most. Just keep doing you. Keep finding your truth. And just living in a state of gratitude as much as you can. Give thanks to your shower head. Give thanks to your hot water heater for giving you hot water when it's a cold morning. Give thanks to your bed and pillow and blankets when you wake up, and your mattress. Give thanks to your sneakers. When you brush your teeth next time, thank your teeth for chewing your food. They're alive too. They may not be able to talk back to you, but they'll appreciate you recognizing their consciousness. That's why, when you wash your car, it seems to drive better. That's just you giving it more love energy and then it being reciprocal. So living in that state of gratitude, folks, is a very important way to live. And instead of asking, just give thanks. You don't need to ask. You just need to discover your code. And then be grateful you got the code delivered to you. Because everything's code. Your last name, your mother's last name, together, your full birth certificate name, your nicknames, your best friend you grew up with, what house they lived at, what house you grew up in, what hospital you grew up in, what's the phone number of the hospital you were born into, what's the address of the hospital you were born into, the latitude, longitude of the hospital you were born in, the latitude, longitude of the place you were born, the house you grew up in. All of these layers are part of your specific code. Thomas Citrus, thank you so much, brother. Appreciate you. 555, I love it. So folks, keep decoding yourself. I believe it's the most important thing that you can do. Besides live life and have fun and experience life and, So let's see here. So thanks everybody for watching. I'm just trying to go through these. Just want to recognize everybody. It looks like Richard Donahue got a little bit of, he stood his ground, and good for you, Richard. And then you got some people that, folks, we don't agree with everybody. That's all good. You don't have to agree with me. Don't care. Just have fun with it. If we can just, do you know why our world's fucked up? Because people just want to debate you and they just want to tell you you're wrong. And I do it too. I get stuck in that system of Maya sometimes. Programmed that way. It's rooted deep within me. I've had to deprogram myself with that and realize, like, Richard Donahue, probably a nice guy. Doesn't agree with everything I say. It's all good. Our world's jacked up because we heavily invest in our beliefs and we just belittle everybody else's. Whereas if you, I would say I can probably leave you guys with this. One of the greatest things I ever learned was everybody living today is right. You're right. I'm right. Richard's right. Shauna's right. Super Champion Rocker's right. And who's to be judged on that? Everybody's right. And if you can accept that notion, life will become a much more pleasant place to be. Like Barack Obama. Do I agree with the guy and his job? Nope, I don't. But he thinks he's right. And who am I to be judge of that? It's not up to me. And you see, I don't put my energy into those people because they don't put their energy into me. Don't care about politics. I watch it for entertainment purposes. Those people don't talk about me at night. They don't sit there with their forks and knives over dinner discussing Decode Your Reality and my work. Highly doubt it. They're doing their own code. They're making their own waves and splashes in life. They're collecting energy. When you're in those higher echelon places in life, presidencies and prime ministers, and so, you're collecting a lot of energy because you're on the world stage. But they're not giving us any energy. They don't know who, like Donald Trump, does he know you? Does he personally know you? Have you hung out with him? Have you golfed with him? Have you had a dinner with him? Does he call you on the phone? Well, then he's not giving you any currency, folks. So why would you want to give him any of your currency? Because that's the name of the game. Currency. So I'm very, who you have sex with, currency exchange. That's important too. Who you share your energy fields with. That's currency exchange. So folks, as we go through this great world of decoding, and I appreciate each and every one of you being here tonight. I'm going to end this transmission and, just give my respects to all of you, and even to those of you that, may have been a little bit more, outlandish in your negativity towards other people on here or myself, whatever. It's all good, it's not my life. I don't have to wake up in your shoes tomorrow. I'm here in sunny Mexico. I'm in the central part of the country. I wake up every day. I love my life. I'm doing exactly what I love doing. I don't have to answer to anyone, especially any of you on here. I don't have to answer to any of you. You don't have to answer to any of me. And here we are. We're kind of joining forces and discussing and all that kind of stuff. But I appreciate each and every one of you. And thank you for listening to this transmission tonight. I'm going to try to get on here and do one of these once a week because I just I have so much to say, and I love to listen to what you guys got to say and all that stuff. But anyway, folks, just remember this, man. Be careful who you share your energy with. When a thought enters your mind, do you give it more energy? Because if you think about politics, you're going to keep politics alive. The very reason why government still exists is because people still rely on them. People still talk about them. People still get their checks and all that kind of stuff. We don't need those organizations. If we're good people to the core, what do we need a bunch of people that are living in fear? You know, that's what the governments and states are. They live in most of the whole construct of government and state and all that. It's all fear based. Like, I understand you have to have stop signs and, you know, speed limits to kind of taper things down and to have those kind of basic rules and regulations. But I don't, if you know how the court systems works, you realize it's all bullshit. It's all based on fear and control and designed to keep you a slave under the thumb. We don't need those ways anymore. Those ways are used up, kind of like the sneaker. I'm getting a new pair of shoes, and I'll try to remember to show them to you guys when I get them, but like, we don't need these old ways anymore. Those ways don't work. Every empire has to fall. And this is going to be no exception. It's going to be a real hard fall. It's going to be a major reset coming up, folks. And I hope to see all of you on the other side. Really, I really, really do. I love each and every one of you, even though I've never met you. I appreciate each and every one of you. Even if you don't agree with my ideologies and my theories and all that kind of stuff, it's all good. I don't know nothing. You know, the deeper down you go into the hole, what you realize is you know absolutely freaking nothing. Ignorance is bliss. Yeah, that's for sure. Sometimes it is, right? Kevin, 82, yeah. So, folks, Jeremy Cook, when you have haters, you're doing something right. Well, you know, Grant Cardone, the great entrepreneur, he says, if you don't have haters, no one knows you. I love that. If you don't have haters, no one knows you. Folks, not everybody agrees with me. I have haters. That's the way. I mean, look, do you realize I got people coming to me and be like, you shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't be playing that music. You're talking too loud. It's like, do you go to Metallica and tell them, I don't like the way your bass lines are. You better change that. Or your guitar solo's too long. I don't like the way you do that. Too bad. I'm freaking Metallica. Well, that's kind of how I feel about my work. It's like, I'm an artist. And what you're seeing through my decodes, it's my art. And it's my esoteric expression through that, being artistic. So it's like, you can't appease everybody. Not everybody's going to like your stuff. And if you're going to put your stuff out there, you're going to get persecution. It just comes with the territory. There's no such thing as a 5-star rating, folks. It's not possible. Time will decay that. So anyway, folks, much love to each and every one of you. I'm going to end this transmission. Let me just lower this down and say, you know, it's 2:10 a.m. here in central Mexico. Wherever you're at in the world, much love to you. Go out there and make the world a better place. Discover your code. You know, don't put yourself into a box. Expand your horizons. But go out there and make the world a better place, folks. That's what this is all about, making the world a better place. Do your part. You know, are you service to self or are you service to others primarily? You're going to be service to both, but, you know, go out there and make the world a better place, folks. Go make the world gold. Do your part. You know, I mean, if you're a 9 life path, you're born a humanitarian, go be a humanitarian. Are you being are you being a humanitarian? Are you living out your life path? You know, if you're a 3 life path, you're very creative. If you're a 4 life path, you're here to build something, to leave something behind. If you're a 5 life path, you're the jack of all trades. You can do whatever it is you want. If you're a 6 life path, you're here to master something. If you're a 7 life path, you're here really to kind of be that bridge, that person to study all things and be that bridge from heaven to hell, if you will. If you're an 8 life path like me, you're here to be maybe like a philanthropist or to really control a massive amount of energy flow. 8's the infinity flow, death and regeneration. You're here to rip the weeds out and plant seeds. If you're a 1 life path, you're here to be a leader in the world. If you're a 2 life path, you're here to lead through duality and working together with groups. This is just basic overviews of numbers, folks. But go out there and make gold, folks. Go out there and make the world a better place. That's what this is all about now. We're moving to the age of Aquarius. Unity and brotherhood. Love's going to win no matter what. We all know that. The superhero always wins over the villain. Each one's necessary. But go out there and be that person that makes a difference in the world. And we'll all be doing our parts. Okay? So, folks, that's all I got for today. I'm not going to say it too loud because I got people sleeping next door, but that's all I got for today. My name's Logan. This is Decode Your Reality. Folks, I thank each and every one of you for watching. I'm going to end this stream. Until next time.